All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the Pokemon Crystal Full Item Randomizer Tournament 2022. I am your commentator Dimnit, and a little bit we'll be having Raylan join as well as the commentator. We're going to be starting off here in just a minute. All right, this match is between Vandio and Oru. For those who are not aware, in the Pokemon Crystal Full Item Randomizer, the goal is to reach Red at the top of Mount Silver. And in order to get there, you'll need to get all 16 badges, as well as the 3 parts of the Pokegear, being the Pokegear itself, the radio card, and the expansion card. And they'll also need to find some way into West Kanto in order to talk to Professor Oak in Pallet Town. All right, and we are starting. All right, and starting off with the Silverwinged as the item. This isn't on the tracker because it's not necessarily a progress item. That being said, the Silverwing will allow them to get access to a level 60 Pokemon in Whirl Island when they get that area available. For our starters, we have a Bulbasaur, a Larvitar, and a Hitmontop. Looks like Vandio is taking the Hitmontop. Oru's still deciding what starter to pick. Alright, looks like both runners are electing to take the Hitmontop, and we'll be off very shortly. Getting a TM from the assistant there could prove useful. That is a very early Fog Badge. Fog Badge is the badge that allows the runners to be able to use the Surf HM once they collect it. We have Vandio finding a Blissey on the route. If they were able to KO the Blissey, that would net them quite a bit of experience. It looked like they tried to, but then it decided to run away.
Okay, taking care of the tech stuff. So I'm here now. Hey everyone.
Hello, welcome Raylan.
What did I miss?
Not a whole lot. There was a Silverwing on the Mom, and both runners picked up the Fog Badge already, and their starters were Hitmontop.
Okay. Hitmontop, not the greatest starter, but decent enough to get through the first part if necessary. Yeah, early Silverwing is nice though.
Yeah, both runners will pick up the Old Rod here. That'll allow them to fish for a level 10, which could be pretty useful right here.
Especially with the Rock Slide TM that we already have to assist the physical main. Let's see. Okay.
We have a direct upgrade, a level 10 Hitmontop, and an Abra in the water.
Okay, the Abra is a bit more interesting, potentially.
It looks like Vandio decided to not catch the Abra.
There are two things you can do with your Abra. First, of course, you can try and run it, although very frail. Once it evolves into Kadabra, it's a decently enough to get through the first part, and since the speed choice allows it to eventually evolve into an LXM on level 37, yeah, that would be a very strong main to run. The second thing you can do with the Abra is you can trade it in Goldenrod for an Pokemon that gets bonus experience, which could be a potentially good main to run.
Absolutely. I would have. I've actually very recently been looking into the trade mains and everything. I would have picked up the Abra at least to potentially trade it in Goldenrod, even though it'll come at the level you trade it at. It could end up working out in your favor because the trade Pokemon does get a boosted experience. Vandio picks up a Houndoom here. Ooh, the Houndoom has Dig. Otherwise, you said is not too great.
Yeah, but not too bad either. I mean, Blizzard is okay as a move, although you do not want to rely entirely on it.
Yeah. Also, pointing out in chat, yes, the Fog Badge does give obedience up to level 50, so that's another reason you may consider taking that trade with the Abra.
And if nothing else, catching that Abra to use it for HMs is definitely not a bad idea. So, yeah, would have been an okay choice to do.
Not only that, Abra actually, it is very, very, very frail, but it does have a pretty decent special attack, being 105, and it's also pretty fast. So, it can be run. You'll probably want to make sure you never get hit, but it can one-shot things very easily.
Yeah, and considering it starts out on level 10, it has that level advantage here for the first part, may not be too hard to get it to Kadabra, and Kadabra can get things done.
Yeah, the Kadabra evolution is at level 16. Oh, there's the basement key, out of logic for Vandio.
Volcano Badge on Route 31. Yeah, that basement key is always an interesting one. With the setting, the basement will always be logically locked behind the card key, so you'll never be forced to do it early. But you certainly can. And it's quite a few checks in there.
Yeah. Once the runners reach 7 badges, the rockets will invade the radio tower in Goldenrod. And so if you want to do that early basement, you want to make sure that you do not reach 7 badges before you get the opportunity to do that.
Ideally, you won't actually reach 7 badges inside doing the basement. Preferably in the later of the part, because if you do it early, you will have to leave behind the check on the director. That only comes in if you have 7 badges. Meanwhile,
Vandio finds Flash in the escape rope chamber.
Yep. So potentially that basement key already halfway back into logic.
Yeah.
Only needs Zephyr Badge.
Flash is also one of those HMs that can really troll you by not showing up for a while. It's not strictly required, except for just a couple of checks in what's called the Flash Chamber, where you have to use Flash to unlock 4 items. But some runners will choose not to do dark caves and such because they don't have Flash, because they're not really as comfortable in their movement. Okay. Looks like Oru is fishing in several different places trying to find a runnable Pokemon.
Yeah, there's a bit of a problem with fishing slots are shared on certain spots. I'm not too familiar with them, but from the looks of it, these fishing spots in Violet and Route 30 at least are shared, and yeah, that means Oruk won't find anything different here than what he already saw. Seems not being aware of it.
That Abra has Spark. I would be catching that Abra.
Oh, definitely. Spark is a very decent special move, and yeah. Again, with that Abra, you can trade it, you can run it, you have options with it, and if nothing else, you can just use it for HMs. So, would be a very decent catch, definitely.
Especially with the Spark. There are a lot of water types in this game, and water's only weak to electric and grass, and there aren't really a lot of good grass moves. So having that Spark for water coverage is actually pretty significant.
I mean, on the other hand, the Hitmontop is the stronger main at the moment. In theory, if it does not get hit by an arrow blast, oh boy.
Yeah, Vandio's struggling just a tiny bit getting up the Sprout Tower here, and Oru is going to be going into the escape rope chamber and finding that HM05.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say, I mean, and Hitmontop also has Arrow Blast, so it has a decent move. And with that, starting out at level 10, it's definitely having, or it's a decent main to run for now. So I can see why Oro is just not, or just going with the Hitmontop.
Yeah, it is interesting. Vandio actually deciding to just stick with the original Hitmontop. Being this one's level 8, he had the opportunity to catch one a couple levels higher.
Which usually late in the game would actually be the case that the 5 level difference is probably made up by stat experience. But this early in the game, basically we had not done, or we have done a single fight before, or no, we could even fight or catch that level 10 Hitmontop before we did a single fight. So it was a strict upgrade at that point. So yeah.
Yeah.
If you decide to stick with the Hitmontop, it is a curious decision to not catch the level higher one. And I mean, Vandio was looking at the Houndoom.
Yeah, that is an Octazooka from the Graveler there, lowering the accuracy, and it appears to be giving Vandio some problems there. I saw him miss a Psybeam there.
Also hitting a Thunder, which then I believe paralyzed. So not the easiest Sprout Tower for Vandio here, definitely.
Ooh, Oru finding a Typhlosion. No, he's good. He's just gonna run away. Yeah, Typhlosion's it's pretty decent, but he probably feels a little bit more confident with the Hitmontop.
Yeah, the big problem of the Typhlosion at this point is it's only level 3, and you are like fighting a level 6 Pokemon, and level 3 Typhlosion, while probably is a better main than Hitmontop, it does not really can compare to the level 11 Hitmontop at this point. So yeah.
Yeah, at this point, both runners are only about a fight apart here. Ooh, Vandio finds Surf.
Surf does change things, because we can use it already, which means we have the ability to surf, and that means we have access to even higher level Pokemon now.
Yeah, the surfing slots, you'll find Pokemon up to around the lower 20s, potentially. So this could be very, very, very good for both runners, being able to switch off the Hitmontop, which I'm sure they weren't thinking about running in the long term.
Yeah, and even if they do not find any mains to switch to, or different Pokemon to switch to, they just can full clear of Islet. Which is not often the case when you first time in Violets. Yeah. Does even allow us to get additional checks in. And you're not really lucky with encounters yet.
Yeah, it seems like Vandio is deciding to not really stick around trying to find an encounter in the water. It's just going to go straight through Volkner.
Yeah, which is not the worst thing to do. I mean, there are later surf spots where you still can look for something. I'm not too familiar how high the levels are in Violet itself. But there's the basement of Union where you have access to, where you can get level 22 around Pokemon. Can try and surf in Prince of Alph, similar levels. So yeah. Some more options, and the surf in Union Cave would also come with getting 2 more additional checks in. So yeah, no big reason to spend too much time looking for main gear.
Yeah, that being said, if Oru happens to find a really good main here, this could put him in an advantageous position. It looks like we have a level 16 Houndour.
Yeah, that's not high enough, especially with that Hitmontop already being level 13.
Yeah, unfortunately, Houndour, it evolves, I believe, in the late 20s at some point. It's not quite good enough, being about 10 levels away from evolution. Right, Vandio's fighting Faulkner now, and that Tauros is giving him just a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, the moveset on the Hitmontop is not too great. We have Aeroblast, which only has 5 PP, and it's not really a special attacker, so Wild Surf is a great move and certainly usable against Mecargo. Surf and Psybeam, not the best attacks to have on Hitmontop.
Yeah. It looks like we have Oru kind of looking for an encounter, not getting very lucky. And Vandio's through Faulkner will be able to pick up the egg in the Pokemon Center and make his way down towards Union Cave.
Okay, and now that I looked it up and it was mentioned in chat, yeah, Hitmontop special is even worse than I thought, with 35 base special attack. You do not want to rely on special attacks.
Yeah, unfortunately all the Hitmon Pokemon suffer from pretty bad special attack, and it's especially bad for Hitmonchan, considering that its whole gimmick is learning all the elemental punches, which are special in this generation. And it looks like Vandio's deciding to backtrack towards Cherry Grove, and possibly even New Barktown, going to pick up these checks on the way to see if they're anything important, as this backtrack later on could take quite a bit more time. And Vandio is very much rewarded.
Yeah, this pass now, I'd imagine Vandio, okay, still saving and probably checking out, back to New Barktown, checking out Tojo Falls, the 2 checks you have access to. But yeah, with this pass, Vandio has the option to just ignore everything after Violet in regards of fights. Head straight for Goldenrod, use that pass to get to Kanto, go into Vermilion Harbor and surf for mains up to level 38, I believe? Or something around that, so...
Like 38 or 39. Very high, much higher level than the cycling road mains we usually see. But yeah, that's really big, because if Oru decides not to make that backtrack, there's a good chance that the pass there is the only progress item along the way, so that could cost Oru a lot of time.
Yep. If you go all the way over to Goldenrod, do not find Fly yet, which can be in Kanto with pass already in Logic.
Ooh, Vandio getting absolutely wrecked by the Goldeen there. But luckily, having an extra Pokemon, he can continue on the way.
Yeah, just has to hope that there's not any more encounters that give him trouble, because if he faints, he hasn't saved anywhere here, and don't think he will go over here a second time.
Yeah, at that point, it's probably not worth the time. He did find the blue card in the Tojo Falls, which blue card is not an item that really does anything for us in the item randomizer. Oh, one tile away.
Luckily, the Houndoom is quite fast in comparison, and got to run away both times. Meanwhile, Oru has has found an Omastar at level 20 in Violet, well, which is not completely bad, especially with Stab Surf.
Yeah, that level advantage is very nice. And Omastar is a pretty good special attacker. Problem being that it has a pretty slow speed stat.
Yeah, and that 4 times the weakness to grass moves is certainly not something you're really happy to have either.
It looks like he is trying to catch the Ivysaur here. Venusaur, well, once it evolves into Venusaur, rather, it's a pretty good mon to run. Pretty good mixed attacker.
Yeah, I mean, the Omastar suffers from a non-existent moveset. So it would basically only have Surf, which is not really that great. You would want to have at least one more attack that you can use. And
Right.
From what I saw, the Ivysaur is not really much better in terms of moves. Okay.
Yeah, and Vandio about to enter Union Cave. Nothing important along the way.
So yeah, we do have still that Rock Slide TM. So yeah, it is true we would have a second step move on Omastar, which would be okay, but Omastar's attack is with 60 not really great, and Rock Slide is somewhat inaccurate, so yeah. I think it would be certainly doable, and considering the level advantage, if you're considering to doing the fights here, Surf would most likely be enough for most of them. So yeah, Omastar would probably not be the worst choice to make, but apparently Oru deciding to stick with the Ivysaur so far.
Yeah, I saw Oru teach growth to the Ivysaur. That's a pretty good setup move. It set up special attack.
Yeah, at least for the first part of the game where you're not really having that much money to get X specials, because growth does not outperform them. It's just an equivalent to an X special as an attack move. And yeah, having or using attack moves over X special is a little bit less good, since it can be outsped and potentially prevented. So in the long run, you do not want to really rely on growth, I'd say, but certainly can help for the first part here.
Right, both runners going to the same place here, the basement, I guess, of the Union Cave.
Yeah. Problem still the same though for Vandio. Not having a high level main is not able to run and is leaving behind his Stormbridge apparently. That could be making up for the fact that Orc did not go over to pick up the pass.
Yeah, it looks like both runners are going to have to backtrack at some point. The trip for Oru probably will be a little bit longer, unless they happen to find the squirt bottle somewhere, in which case Vandio getting the pass that early might not end up being that big of a deal.
I want to even mention or to point out the fact that if Fly is not in Kanto, and especially not behind the pass, and Oru is getting access to it, this backtrack will actually be much faster. Vandio has no choice but to cycle or walk back to that storm edge.
Yeah, and Vandio picks up the SS ticket there. That's probably going to further keep Vandio away from that spot. He'll have a lot more to do.
That does point in the direction of Squirt Bottle not being accessible very early, though.
That is true. That is true. So,
Yep.
Vandio, knowing the logic of the ROM, knowing that the parts of Fly cannot be behind the SS ticket, may discourage him from taking the SS ticket up.
Yep. Ooh, and that's level 17 Moltres. Unfortunately, very low. That could have been another potential main to switch to, at least for the short term. Yeah, Vandio pretty much did exactly what I expected, with Pass and Surf having the ability to access Kanto this early and get a high level on. I imagine Vandio pretty much trying to go over there as fast as possible and reasonable. Okay. Vandio deciding that the PP up is probably worth throwing out some low money items for. We're still in the early game, we're still somewhat limited on the money we can spend, and we do have a lot of things we want to buy.
Yeah, it looks like Oru is going to be going into Slowpoke well. If the other part of Fly is here, that's also going to be very, very big for Oru.
Yeah. It does definitely make sense because Oru has no way to access Kanto just yet.
Yeah, it looks like we have a hidden power electric on the Ivysaur.
Okay, 14.
Like mentioned before, that water coverage is actually very, very important.
Okay, that would be unfortunate for the Swooper though. But yeah, that moveset on the Ivysaur is actually not too bad.
Yeah, we know it's a hidden power electric because it was super effective on the Butterfree as well.
So an electric, hidden power, outrage, and surf. Yeah, that is decent coverage. So that Ivysaur is definitely runnable for now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You will look into upgrading your moveset at some point when possible, but for now it's certainly decent.
Alright, we have Vandio doing a very common strat of saving right before checking this bike shop. If the item here is not important, then you're going to want to reset that because it not only does it save the walking the trip back, but it also allows you to skip a forced phone call with the bike shop guy later on in the run.
Yeah, and another upside to that strategy, if you do that save point right there, you can also reset away the 2 items here in Radio Tower and save that walk back if they are not useful. So, very nice spot to get 2 somewhat annoying walkbacks or phone calls and do not have to take them. And you do want to do these 2 checks rather early, because the second check, especially on Buena, that does get locked in behind some fights if you do get 7 badges. So, yeah. You do not want to leave behind progression there if possible.
Looks like we have Oru deciding to take on Bugsy now, as Vandio actually elects not to take the pass to Kanto quite yet.
Doing some more easy checks probably is looking out for Fly and Storm badge. There's this 1 check on Route 15 here, and there's the 3 checks in National Park that we can get to. So these are a few more quick checks. You can pick up Kenya, and it does somewhat pay off because that's HMO1. So cut, found.
Yeah, that'll be pretty good for Vandio here. If he's able to find the Hive badge, he'll be able to take care of quite a few checks.
Okay, TM42 is Vice Grip. That's probably not worth keeping.
Yeah, with that growth, this Ivysaur is actually looking pretty good, because he can get a free setup without having to spend money on X specials. And it's looking like it's paying off here in the Bugsy fight.
Okay, National Park did not have anything interesting.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Bugsy also not having anything useful for Oru. Vandio now taking the pass over to Kanto.
Did Vandio pick up the Kenya? Don't think so.
I did see him pick up the Kenya, but he didn't show us what it was.
Then never mind. But yeah, for Vandio now, doing some quick Kanto checks. The 1 check on Route 35. That always give you that fly spot in Cerulean, since you get high enough to be at the border of Cerulean City. Probably going to check the item on Fighting Dojo, the Psychic TM, and the Sylph Operation Guard. I can't imagine him trying to go to Sabrina. That would be very optimistic.
Yeah, Vandio right now, he's probably going to go get that Vermilion surfing main, because Vandio right now, I believe he only has that Hitmontop, really.
Yeah. Probably because of that. And okay, that is Fly in Kanto. So
yeah, so it looks like both runners will be needing to backtrack in order to reach their respective fly parts. Very interesting here. It's going to be a matter of who decides to backtrack first.
Yeah, and this is going to be a very, very painful backtrack for Oruk. It won't be as painful for Vandio, because Union Cave is closer to him than Cherry Grove. And yeah, we now do see Vandio checking the surf spots in Vermilion and or Vermilion Harbor. Did pick up a sweet Centiam for it, so he does not have to rely on normal encounters. Yeah, there's again, yeah.
And meanwhile, Oruk finds the Rising Badge on the Charcoal check. That does mean that Vandio will need to complete the Slowpoke well at some point in the run.
That is a Gyarados. That is certainly a decent main to run. Very strong physical attacker. Decently fast. Decently tanky, it just crumbles to thunder moves.
Yeah, it looks like Vandio saved up that Rock Slide TM and will be able to teach it to the Gyarados. Giving it a decent moveset, also having the fighting coverage there.
Yeah, Stab Surf, although Gyarados only 60 base special attack, so not too great, but that does somewhat make up for that.
And on top of that, the level advantage also very, very nice.
Yeah, that's the biggest part. Also, it was a male Gyarados, so it does not have the worst attack DV it could have.
Yeah, the only thing is that the Gyarados will be 4 times weak to electric moves, which could pose a problem later on in the run, especially if Vandio decides to stick with the Gyarados the whole way and reaches Red only to find out that Red leads something like a Raikou with Thunderbolt. That would be very, very scary.
Yeah, but aside from that, Gyarados has a very good move that might cause paralysis. This might be an extra thunder move, which could be not too bad. Powerful kicking attack. That's something that you could teach the Gyarados potentially. Yeah, but yeah, what I wanted to say, 100 base special defense, even with that 4 times weakness, your opponent has to be a decent special attacker at least to put that Gyarados in danger, especially with how high level it is. It will probably go somewhere around the level 50s to level 60s when you fight Red, so that will be a decent enough level to have a chance even surviving a thunder move from something that's not that great a special attacker.
And Vandio, making his way south of Lavender Town onto the bridge, he did save before he left Saffron City, so if this item isn't anything useful, he will just be able to reset right back. I believe he's really looking for the Storm Badge here. And it looks like he will be making his way back into Johto. So this could be when Vandio decides to go back and look for that Storm Badge around Union Cave, considering that there's no progress out of Goldenrod right now that isn't the SS ticket. He decides to go for Whitney first, which is a good move, considering that his main should be able to handle Whitney with absolutely no problem. Right, Vandio is starting to fight with Whitney. Oruk, getting done with the radio tower, is now going to move on to the Goldenrod Underground. Going to grab the item down here, which I don't believe Vandio has actually grabbed at this point.
Yeah, it's a single item which is behind a fight you might want to put off if you are going to main switch anyway and return to Goldenrod. I can certainly see delaying that.
Alright, Vandio getting a rare candy and a charcoal off the Whitney fight. Rare candy is a pretty good find, allows you to raise your level by 1, regardless of what level you are or where your experience is out. And finding that charcoal is a nice money item. Alright, and Oruk finding the max elixir there.
That Vandio is going to get also in a moment. And max elixir is certainly nice to have, at least 1 or 2 off. Later in the game, when you do some fights in a row, you do not really want to take time off to go to a Pokemon Center, as that does cost a bit of time, and just being able to restore attack PP does come in handy.
Absolutely. So yeah, both the runners just kind of trading off what they were checking. Oruk now going through Whitney, and Vandio finishing up the basement here, deciding to take on this extra trainer in the basement. Considering he has the basement key, he might be just considering doing early basement.
I mean, he certainly does have a main for it that can do the Rival 4 fight. Rival does have a Pokemon around level 30, so it is not the easiest fight very early in the game, but with this Gyarados, he certainly has a decent shot at it. And yeah, while he has to leave that 1 check on the director behind, that's still, 6 or 7 items you can get access to that later become locked into very, very slow amount of fights.
Yeah, and it looks like Vandio will be making his way into the basement here. This is a good play. These checks are out of logic, but if there are badges in here, he can potentially skip doing the entire radio rocket sequence in order to have an easier time here. So this could be a really, really good play for Vandio here.
Potential downside, though, is if the card key is for example in Mount Silver, this fight would never be in logic, and if Oro would follow logic, he would never be even tempted to do these checks. So there's still a potential that Vandio can just lose time in here.
What happens if the rocket sequence starts while you're in the basement? What happens is that the rockets will just appear when you room transition. So there has to be a room transition, but say, and this is hypothetical because right now they only have 2 badges, but let's say Vandio had 6 badges at this point, and he collects one in the first room of the basement. When he walks into the next room, the rockets will suddenly appear.
Yeah, which also means that the check on the director becomes available, so there are upsides to getting a 7th badge in there. And what you ideally want to have in that case is have the 7th badge in the second room, so that when you go up to check the item in the basement of the mart, you have your room transition and you have only 1 more fight to do, but get an extra check out of it.
And I actually didn't catch it. Did Oruk grab that cut HM?
Yeah, Oruk has it.
Okay, good to know. Alright, Vandio doing the puzzle here. The pattern 1-3-1-2 will allow him to get all the items, or both of the items rather, there's only 2, in this part of the basement. Getting the items here can be a little bit confusing when you're not familiar with the puzzle. And save resetting, because it's faster to do that than to walk back if the items are nothing. Meanwhile, Oruk looks like he's exhausted all of his checks. We'll be backtracking, and eventually we'll find the pass, but it's going to be quite a long backtrack, and Vandio finds the HM064 Whirlpool.
Which is definitely an interesting find, considering that... and strength, okay. Oh, these are 2 HMs that... open up a decent amount of checks, and that Whirlpool HM would be definitely required if we want to access the level 60 Lugia. Strength, on the other hand, also very good move just for our Gyarados.
Yeah, this is a very, very huge payoff for Vandio, as with both of these items, they unlock quite a few checks, and that could mean that he won't need to do the radio rockets at all. And whereas Oruk may have to do all of them just to get those 2 HMs.
Well, there are still 4 items that are hardlocked behind the card key in the radio tower rocket, and so if one of them is required, Vandio has no choice to go back there later either.
That is true, and also Claire requires clearing the rocket tower. And with Whirlpool being in the basement, it kind of potentially points to Claire having something possibly. So there's a chance that there was really no need to do this early.
Yeah. I mean, though, the strength HM alone is probably worth what Vandio did. He only has to go back into the basement for the false director, and that would be the only point where he really would lose time. That is 1 check. So it's not too likely that that will be required.
Yeah, and even, like, you know, the utility of strength as an HM move, it's not only that, but also getting the strength for the Gyarados. It's a very solid move for it. It's an 80 base power normal type move. And that's a nice spammable move for the Gyarados.
Yep, that is pretty much why this paid off so big, because it certainly does improve the moveset of the Gyarados considerably.
Oh, Oruk finding Hive Badge by turning in the Kenya.
That does unlock Cut. You do now have the ability to check the item on Route 5. Route 32, VTM 05. Getting confused with the numbers. And yeah, an easier way even to get back to Cherry Grove. Being able to use the cut bush here.
And importantly, this will make the backtrack here slightly quicker, as you don't have to worry about the encounters and all that, being able to cut through all of these.
Well, not if you take this part.
If you take this path.
Specifically. But yeah, in theory it would.
And not only that, it also makes this backtrack a little bit more worth it than just going back to the past as well.
Yep. So, or now has the path, knows that there's access to Kanto, and will be able to get his HM02 subsequently.
Yep, it looks like Oruk will be going back towards New Barktown. Since Oruk has the Rising Badge, he will have an extra check here that Vandio didn't have.
Yep, which does make it a bit more appealing. On the other hand, I don't believe Oruk saved here so far after that pass, so not able to hard reset back out of New Barktown if there's nothing on.
Yeah,
worth grabbing.
Just to update about Fly. So, So Vandio was able to get the pass early by backtracking from Violet once they got Surf, which Oruk did not do. So he just now got the pass. Meanwhile, Oruk was able to grab the Storm Badge in the lower part of Union Cave that requires Surf. Vandio, unfortunately, taking a wipe right before getting the Storm Badge and deciding not to go back for it.
So it was a bit unfortunate there. If Vandio had managed to get to that Storm Badge, he would be in a very, very comfortable lead at this point. So we have still not or race that is a bit closer together, but still this backtrack for Oruk is very, very painful because yes, he needs to go all the way back to Goldenrod to get into Kanto before he can fly. Vandio will unlock his fly ability after getting into Union Basement.
And meanwhile, what Vandio is doing here is going to end up being required as the Charcoal Man gives the Rising Badge. And so this isn't a waste of time at all for Vandio, and is actually very good that he's doing this now.
Well, Vandio does definitely need to locate that Storm Badge though, and yeah, that's probably the main reason why he's still going through here. Because it could be here, from Vandio's perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And Oruk is actually now making the backtrack, and honestly at this point will probably not take too long to get back into Goldenrod.
No. We can cut through this bush here, but does prevent us to having go around.
Yeah, so there's a good chance they'll each be getting their fly around the exact same time.
Yeah. Actually, maybe. I would have expected it, or it takes a bit longer to get to fly.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too much longer though. Alright, Vandio just finished Bugsy, and I imagine we'll be doing the other checks in Ilex Forest before... Oh no, it looks like Vandio will be just going on ahead to the basement. This is good for him. Getting the Storm Badge here will allow Vandio to skip the rival. Oh, it looks like Vandio may have forgotten about missing that check.
I'm not... Oh, okay.
Oh, looks like Vandio might have just remembered. Very nice save there. That would have been very, very dicey.
Or maybe just set the escape rope or dig point to there.
Yeah, that's also a potential strategy, doing that.
I mean, you have to go through eventually, so debatable if it's better to just go there first and then go back, or just go into the basement and then go through. It's really the way to go. But that is Storm Badge for Vandio, and I believe Vandio will be both happy and a bit annoyed.
All right, yeah, it looks like they did get them like almost the exact same time, just a couple seconds apart. And Vandio's now going to turn in the Kenya and get that cut HM. Or I'm sorry, the Hive badge. My bad.
The cut ability unlocked. So yeah, the big difference between our two runners right now is Vandio has already a much higher level Pokemon to run, or has not attempted to main switch any further so far. So Vandio is still in the better position for now. Has also done the vanilla basement, the early basement, so has more checks done in addition.
Yeah, I imagine Vandio pretty soon will be taking the SS ticket as they're running low on checks to, or comfortable checks rather, to be doing in Johto and Kanto.
That's a nice Spark TM we found somewhere.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, stocking up a bit on X items. Did he buy another 11 X attacks there? Oh, where's this X defense?
I wasn't looking. I was actually looking over on Oruc's screen. It looks like Oruc going down towards Vermilion.
Yeah, so 21 X attacks is already plenty. Any more you're most likely never going to use. And that's 39. What's that? 39 X attacks? Oh boy. Where do you want to spend all of these?
And it looks like Oruc is going to be searching for a main in the Vermilion City surfing. This is the right move for him right now. Gonna be switching to a new main.
Yep, this was where the Gyarados were, and indeed it does show up. Level 38, so one level higher than Vandius was, but female.
Yeah, for those who aren't aware, the gender of the Pokemon is based off the attack DV of the Pokemon. So, as this game was made around 20 years ago, maybe not the most progressive ideal, but female Pokemon are inherently weaker than male Pokemon in this game. And so, at least in the attack stat. And so...
In the physical attack stat, to be specific, special attack is unaffected by it.
Yes, that's true. So, Gyarados being a physical attacker, the female Gyarados is going to have a lower attack than the male Gyarados will.
Which, to be fair, is not too big of a difference. We are speaking about an average of between or around 10 points, maybe, on level 50, which can be annoying for some ranges, but overall does not make Gyarados unusable at this point.
Oh, absolutely not, no. Yeah, the gender difference, it's not that big of a difference, but sometimes, you know, those ranges do become very, what makes the difference.
Fortress on level 30, definitely not better main to use. Fortress, weak to fire moves, but is a surprisingly solid attacker. Ooh, and that's level 39 male Gyarados, so...
Yeah, that is very, very nice.
It is definitely an upgrade over the level 38 one.
Alright, Vandio just cleared out a few quick checks south of Lavender now that he has the cut access. He can grab those and making his way into Celadon now.
So, we do have a Belly Drum here. Belly Drum attack that does cost you half of your maximum HP, but in return you maximize your attack stat, so it does count as basically 6 X attacks or 3 sword stances.
Yeah,
High risk,
interesting.
high reward for setup.
Yeah, Vandio seems to be taking on Erica now.
Yeah, I mean, Erica is unlocked by cut, so these checks are logic, and level 40 Gyarados, Vandio has bought a ton of X attacks, and yeah. Erica is actually an location to spend a good amount of them on this early, and yeah. Can absolutely be required and can absolutely pay off, and if nothing else, it will give this Gyarados a nice chunk of XP. And
Ooh, Detect from the Teddiursa. That's going to act just like Protect, where it's going to completely negate the move of the opponent for that turn. That is a little bit of a time waste there, but Vandio's through that fight. It was no problem.
although meanwhile, going to check on Route 12, we can take all 3 items here. Oh, and unfortunately runs into the optional.
Yeah, that one has max vision. You want to go all the way to the side over there.
Meanwhile, Gyarados got hit by a Thunder, but luckily it was only just a Grimer, and a bit slower in level, so that Thunder did not do too much damage to Gyarados, and there it was visible that although Thunder moves certainly are scary on Gyarados, its special defense of 100 does still prevent quite a bit of damage.
Alright. Items having to resort to these super potions, and he only has one left. So, if this Erica fight ends up being somewhat difficult, Vandio may have to abandon it just for the moment to come back later with better healing items.
Certainly depends on the Miltank moves, and Zap Cannon is... I mean, you could try, and if Miltank misses 1 or 2 Zap Cannons, and you are able to set up 1 or 2 X attacks, or Miltank even misses 3 of them. Okay, trying to feint the Miltank. Does miss 2 Zap Cannons, but Submission also misses. Oh. But Miltank goes down. Let's see if the second Pokemon is actually better to set up on. And Pichu? Yeah.
It's
not
probably
too
gonna.
scary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this should be okay. Being able to heal off that paralysis is good.
I actually might have considered setting up X attacks here if you want to, because that Ice Beam could have frozen, and then okay, Taurus with Aeroblast.
A little scary, but Vandio does have revives.
Yeah, but that's a very, very strong move, and he does not have many revives. He cannot really reasonably consider PP stalling. And yeah, that's what I expected. Aeroblast having high crit rate. Yeah, that was why I mentioned maybe wanting to set up a bit on the Pichu, knowing that you could, because yeah, if there's another decent, strong Pokemon following up that's higher in level, you will probably faint.
Alright, looks like we have Oruk doing a quick shopping trip, while Vandio decides to abandon Erica for now, which I think is a good call. Erica, just a little bit too much for the Gyarados to handle, and is going to go down towards Fuchsia City.
Yeah. Definitely the easier leader to fight. I think the highest level Pokemon is level 40, and some level 38s in there. So, yeah, fighting Janine definitely easier to do, and with Fly we can just easily fly away from here after it. Also, we can check the item on Route 15. And yeah, both runners are going to do so at this point.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see the variety of paths that the runners take. They're in very different places for most of the run, but now we're nearly right in the same spot. It's just interesting to see when that does happen.
Yeah, they're exhausting the somewhat easier Kanto checks for now before taking the SS ticket, which is a bit curious maybe. Take the boat over to North Kanto or North Johto. There's a considerable higher amount of checks you can do, and with Fly you can basically come back here at any point in time. But on the other hand, you have cuts, so you can basically full clear this area, so there's no reason to delay it. Maybe you find something in here, like the secret potion for example, that would make your trip through the lighthouse more efficient. Or, I don't know, find waterfalls so we can full clear Mount Mortar.
Yeah, it looks like this Gyarados lead from Janine is a bit annoying, hitting these dynamic punches.
Yeah, and then Gyarados had set up, hitting itself with confusion certainly is not what you want to have.
Ooh, also the
set up barrier.
Yeah, I didn't notice that from Vandio, but yes, the Gyarados setting up the barrier is also going to make this a pretty tedious fight.
Oh, this time Vandio does get through though. 2 rock slides. Is there?
Scissor with Fury Cutter. What kind of rando?
Stab Fury Cutter, but yeah, that does not do anything against Gyarados.
Actually seeing Stab Fly from Oruk on the Gyarados, that's actually pretty good. Fly is a 2-turn move, so it's a little bit slower to use, but coming from a Gyarados, that Fly is going to have a lot of power behind it.
That it does, actually. So Fly is usually not a move you will see much being used on mains. Gyarados is maybe one of the Pokemons where you can get away with it. Dragonite being maybe the other one that's where it is even stronger, actually. Yeah, but otherwise, there are stronger flying type moves you would rely on, or would prefer to rely on.
Yeah,
so,
but in the case you don't have anything, Fly being Stab and everything is definitely not a bad move for the Gyarados.
Yeah. But it only improves the damage Thunder does to it.
That is true. If Gyarados uses Fly, Thunder will, I believe it will always hit.
It won't improve the damage, but it will improve the accuracy and make Thunder even more scary.
Yeah, Vandio now taking the boat as Oruk enters Erica oof, might also have a pretty rough time.
Oh, we'll see. So the small difference here in these Erica fights is Oruc's Gyarados started out on a higher level, and Oruc did Janine first, so has even more, or has even a level more compared to it before going over to Erica. So that might actually make some difference.
Absolutely, and I haven't checked Oruc's items, but there's also a chance that Oruc has better healing items, which I think was the main thing holding Vandio back in that fight.
Here's that Grimer with Thunder, and yeah, that's exactly what I mentioned. Even if you are going to fly, that Thunder does hit you. And
Ooh,
now
getting
even
the
paralyzing.
paralysis as well. This is a very good use of the full restore here. And Vandio has made his way into North Johto, entering Galavine. He's going to be able to do a few quick checks here.
And seems to be going up the lighthouse straight.
Yeah, deciding to go on ahead and go up the lighthouse rather than wait for the secret potion, which could pay off. There's not a guarantee that there is something behind the secret potion. And there's also a possibility that the secret potion is in Mount Silver. So while you're here, why not just go on and knock it out?
Yeah. On the other hand, you have Fly, so you can always just return here whenever you want. And it is just 5 items, so it's not too likely that there is in here or something in here that's of immediate use. On the other hand, you do not really have many other options with high density open to you currently. Although Mount Mortar, you do have Surf, you do have Strength, so you have a decent chunk of it. You do have the Rocket Hideout, which won't be improved by anything you can find in the Lighthouse. You can full clear a Lake of Rage if you have Surf and Cut. So
yeah, there's a lot of checks here in North Johto.
There's certainly the option for you to just head over towards Lake of Rage first, do the easy checks on the way, skip Morty, the Burn Tower, and even Kimono Girls for now, maybe just cycle right past a critique, and do some quick checks in Mount Mortar, go over to Lake of Rage, and then fly back, and maybe have grabbed an easy secret potion. This is definitely something you could have done here.
Yeah. Well, Vandio is now at the top. Something interesting here is checking this item right here before talking to Jasmine. Actually, I will say, there's been 2 runs that I've done where the secret potion was right here. And so if you talk to Jasmine first and then pick up this item, you will have to talk to her again if it is the secret potion. Just kind of an interesting thing that can happen. And it looks like Oruc is a bit farther in the Erica fight than Vandio made.
Yeah, there being a Dunsparce that puts Gyarados to sleep. And it does not have really anything to hurt the Gyarados aside from Present. Which can be scary because you never know what Present is going to do.
Yeah, in this case, it's been dealing quite a bit of damage, but Present can also heal. And so, this is kind of a lottery right here. We definitely would rather see the Flame Wheel. It deals negligible damage to the Gyarados.
And it does wake up again, submission goes through, and the...
Wow, look at that.
Was down.
Made it through Erica. Unfortunately, just getting a Hyper Potion and Revive, so Erica is not required for this run.
Yeah, and it is probably very unlikely that Vandio does return here, unless we are very much hunting for a last batch.
And even then, by then, Vandio will have a... Vandio should have a much easier time on the return.
Yeah, but still it is slow return, so haven't been there already, you probably are just saying, no, Erica hasn't anything. Which, I mean, Erica has 2 items, so it is an more attractive Kanto leader than others. But yeah, I can see Vandio maybe hoping that Erica just won't be required at all.
Alright, looks like Vandio's going into the burned tower.
Which is an interesting decision at the current point, because we cannot check either item in here. So this is only going to release the Romas and enable the ability to fight Morty.
Yeah, so if I had to predict here, it's likely that he will decide to fight Morty while he's here. It's a very interesting decision. Most people do put off Morty for a while, considering the trainers in the gym. Especially the first one has 5 Pokemon, and it's a little bit of a time sink.
And that all for 2 items.
Yeah, there's a common, mentality that Morty is a scam. And sometimes Morty is a scam, and sometimes Morty ends up being required. Because not only do you get the 2 items, but also Morty is one of 2 ways that you can get into the 10 tower after collecting the Clear Bell and the Rainbow Wing.
Which we have neither of at this point, and that is one point I also wanted to make. Yeah, also, Morty can be or exist, but at this point it does not seem that likely that it will be soon, so maybe not too much reason to do Morty now.
Unfortunately, we missed the Roamer cries there.
I'm sorry. I have a tendency to completely blank out that the Roamer are in the Burn Tower.
Yeah, but it looks like Vandio is going to take on Morty now. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's not much reason we have to try and switch to a Roamer. We already have a level 43 Gyarados here on Vandio's sides, and Roamers will be at level 40, so unless there is a Mewtwo running around there, or a Thunderbolt Zapdos or something like that, it's unlikely that you're going to switch at this point. And then you even need the luck to run into the correct Roamer.
Alright, and Uruk doing a quick shopping trip in Olivine. Gonna switch up his repels up there. Vandio about halfway through Morty's gym now.
Yeah. We will see. Apparently, Oro also taking on the Lighthouse, so no difference between our runners in here. Like I mentioned, you did certainly have the option to go to Lake of Rage first, do the quick checks, see if that does change your options a bit. But apparently neither runner being too interested in that, rather trying to efficiently full clear whichever location they are currently in.
Yeah, and honestly, that's not the worst idea. It's one of the strategies, either getting the quickest checks you can or doing the most efficient, in which you don't have to return to an area. You could just go on ahead and full clear. And especially with doing the strat where you do all the faster checks, sometimes you end up with just like you'll end up with 15 badges and just a bunch of like really slow checks, and so it ends up just being kind of a lottery, like which one ends up having the badge you need. And so that's one of the advantages of full clearing, is that even though it is a little bit slower on a check by check basis, it will greatly eliminate the needle in a haystack sort of rush for the last badge.
Potentially, at least. Of course, if there's nothing in the checks you do find, there are still some single checks that they both have, like Sabrina, Surge.
And it looks like Morty not giving any progress item this ROM.
Also, with doing the lighthouse now, you somewhat isolate Jasmine if the secret potion does turn up. So there are certainly options, or certainly reasons to maybe delay the lighthouse because of that. And on the other hand, with the rocket hideouts being on the horizon, and that also being a very, very slow set of checks, you maybe want to try and delay that if possible, which would be a reason to do the lighthouse and Morty and Kimono Girls. And of course, you mentioned it earlier, Morty and also the Kimono Girls are checks that tend to be skipped by some people, and if you do them and there's something on there, that's definitely something that can give you a huge advantage in some races.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say, in particular, Morty, the Soft Sand Girls, and the Kimono Girls are three of the biggest commonly skipped checks in the game. And if one of those three have something major on them, then it does give the runner an advantage if they just go on ahead and get those out of the way.
On the other hand, there was nothing on Morty this ROM so far, and we will see soon if the Kimono Girls have something in there, and if not, that would be a chance for Orucsom to make up some time for now.
Yeah, very true, very true. On one hand, having a main that can one-shot all these Pokemon, there's not really a faster time to do any of these checks. On the other hand, it is frankly just faster not to do them at all if they're not required, and looks like Kimono Girls is not required.
Yep. And I mean, at this point, it is a decent amount of XP with their five Pokemons, but they're all being level 17. It's not too enticing to do.
Yeah.
So.
Vandio is now doing these quick checks in Mount Mortar, just going along the way towards Mahogany.
Yep. Certainly fits the style of Vandio so far. And looks like at least Oro is not interested in doing Morty immediately.
Yeah, if Org does decide to skip these checks, this will put Vandio and Org in just about a minute or two apart here.
Yep. And also passing on the Kimono Girls for now.
And Vandio found the Thunder Badge here in the basement of Mount Mortar.
Which is badge number 6. Badge number 7 will be an important number because it will enable us to get to Route 44 and beyond it once we have found the plane badge.
Yeah, and looking over at Oric's screen, it does not look like that 7th badge will be here in Mount Mortar, at least for now.
Yeah, I mean, we do have the entirety of the rocket hideout. But yeah, that 7th badge also wouldn't be too much for us if it is not the plane badge and the card key would be somewhere around, because even if we have access to strength, we should remember it is not in logic until we find the card key. It is hidden, or it is in the basement of, or in the marked basement. So, yeah, logically locked behind having the card key and doing the radio tower rockets.
And it looks like we have a shiny Umbreon this ROM. Umbreon shiny, in my opinion, looks pretty clean. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. So there are some very strange shinies being around. That is a badge, the Zephyr badge. So Flash is now accessible and usable.
And that will be the 7th badge now, so we do now have access to Route 44.
Yeah. And also, the False Director is now there. The radio tower invasion has happened. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I definitely hope for both of these runners that the False Director is not required before collecting the card key in this ROM. That would be very sad.
It would be very rude, yes. It can happen, it is fully in logic at this point, but it is a single check without the card key, and yeah. Not too likely that is being required, considering that we still have the entirety of the rocket hideout waiting for us. Yeah, Lake of Rage did not have much more, so the cut checks were apparently, I believe, were all not valuable.
Yeah, and Vandio will be starting the rocket hideout here. The beginning of it especially, but a lot of it is just really slow considering there's so many battles and they're so low level. It just becomes a press A simulator, and it looks like both of the runners will be there very shortly too.
Yeah, I mean, you do have now 2 other options you can do if you haven't done the rock tunnel. It's now in logic. So there's 5 more quick items to grab, plus you can go over to the generator and unlock the hidden item in the Cerulean Gym. Also, the Nugget Hatch base is there for you, that you could full clear at that point and fight Misty, which all of that is in logic. You do have access to the Flash Chamber now, which is for somewhat quick checks. Also, you have that Miracle Seed gift check, so another somewhat quick check you could have done prior to this. So you are not forced to go in here. Just
yeah, that's true. That is true. But it looks like Vandio is just fully clearing every area he goes into. So I'm not too surprised that he entered the hideout at this point.
Yep. The hideout does have 3, 8, 9, 10 plus 3 items in it, so yeah. Very great amount. The dentist area.
Looks like with Oruk getting the phone call there, that means he's also at 7 badges, which means I must have missed when he got the volcano badge, so I went on ahead and marked that. But looks like the runners are essentially neck and neck here now. Just a couple minutes apart. The only real difference being that Vandio did the early basement and has the strength and whirlpool HMs, neither of which he can use yet.
Yep. And Vandio has also. What was it? I wanted to say Vandio did something in addition to that. So how far did Oro clear Mount Mortar?
Oruk, he did both parts, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the only difference. Vandio also did Morty and the Kimono Girls.
That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, and Oruk actually finished Erica, whereas Vandio did not.
Yeah. So some slight differences in addition to that, but basically, for the most part, the same checks being done.
Yeah, unfortunately, that skipping that storm badge earlier, I believe, was the equalizer there between the two of them.
Yeah, it definitely was. So yeah, basically the acrobatic checks that Vandio did so far allowed Oro to close up the gap that has opened up quite a bit again. And this is close, but if we are going on a long badge hunt and Oro is going back into the acrobatic checks, then there is still a decent advantage that Vandio can get out of it again.
Alright, and Vandio fighting these rockets that have the password, change that was made to our ROM was that we no longer have to talk to the rockets again to grab the passwords. We can just fight them, and it'll act as if we talk to them to go on ahead and get the passwords. This is to help the runners, in case they forget to talk to a rocket, they don't have to take a walk of shame back, which would be very unfortunate to see if that were to occur. That being said, you still got to talk to the Murkrow up there after this fight coming up, or else you will have to take a separate walk of shame all the way back up here.
Yeah, I think almost everyone had done this at one point at least.
Yeah, especially learning the runs and getting started out. It's very common to forget to talk to these specific NPCs in the Rocket Hideout, and I can tell you from experience, it does feel pretty bad.
It does feel really bad.
Yeah, luckily for both runners, this Gyarados is plenty strong enough to be able to just one-shot everything in here. So there are some runs where, you know, your main is bad enough where Rocket Hideout even is can be a little bit sketchy, and so it is at least nice to know that your main is definitely capable of getting through here, and that's a Rainbow Wing for Vandio.
Okay. That actually might make that Morty play more valuable for Randy, because that's now half of our access to Tin Tower, and if the Clear Bell does show up, yeah, Tin Tower is another location with decent amount of items and certainly can hold our next progression part. So yeah, if the Clear Bell does turn up to be here also, then that Morty play for Vandio actually might just have been required, and then
yeah, if that's the case, then there was absolutely no time loss there taking on Morty, which does swing things very well for Vandio.
On the other hand, if the card key is also in here, then that would be again make a very interesting decision point for Orc, as Orc can just finish radio tower rockets and then the basement gets strength and whirlpool and also have access to Tin Tower without doing more. So still some options that could potentially happen here soon, when we still have not found immediate progression.
Alright, and just one more Electro to go here. Oh, unfortunately, it is a Jinx. We are going to have to hear that cry twice. Ooh, that is a lot of time loss. But both runners will be listening to that Jinx cry, so it will equal out.
Yeah, there's nothing that would maybe incentivize to leave behind the end of the rocket hideout, which is again a very slow part of the rocket hideout, which you potentially could skip with just grabbing the 5 items and then noping out, not going to get the advanced item, which then be 1 item plus the prize fight, which would have 2 items, and that TM36 check, which would be the last item. So you would skip out on 4 items, but save a considerable chunk of time. But you need some sort of progression, and you're running low on checks. So it would be a big risk to say, nope, I just go to Route 44 and find my progression there.
Yeah, and I'll mention, since this is relevant, Vandio's first match, he actually did something very similar to that. It's a skip we call ERC skip, but he did something very similar to that in his first match, where he picked up a few of the items in the rocket hideout and left before finishing it out. And while there weren't any other important items in there, he could have skipped it and just kept going and it would have been fine. Eventually it came down to that point where there were very few checks left, and he decided to go back and finish out the rocket hideout, and that cost him quite a bit of time when he did that, and ended up actually costing him the race, I think. So, looks like Vandio decided this time he will be finishing the rockets whether or not they are required.
And so far they weren't. 2 more checks. And leaving behind prize for now, instead going for the flash chamber and the Zephyr badge check. Interesting.
Yeah, gonna be doing just a few of these quicker checks. That's a glacier badge for Vandio, and I also saw Oruk pick up that rainbow wing.
So glacier badge is certainly interesting, because we with Vandio having Whirlpool already, Vandio has access to Whirl Islands. While still not in Logic yet without card key, we did get the Silver Wing for Mom, so that's a free level 60 waiting for us to see what it is.
Absolutely. So yeah, getting that, doing that basement skip might have really paid off for Vandio here if he decides to check Whirl Island soon and not only grab that level 60, but also, oh, there's a clear bell.
Well, yeah, going partway into Rocket Hideout was certainly required from the looks of it. But yeah, this flash chamber was accessible the whole time, and that's now Tin Tower access. And yeah, now this multiplayer actually does seem to be needed for now. So, small caveat here is, although there are 2 level 40s in Tin Tower that you potentially main switch to, this Gyarados is actually on level 48 now, so I don't think there's any Pokemon that you would switch back or switch again for. Unless there is maybe a Psychic Mewtwo. But I think pretty much everything else you are just completely ignoring at this point.
Yeah. And luckily, we'll also get another chance to hear the roamers here after these sages. And in addition, be able to confirm what the Suicune is. So, pretty exciting there.
And I will be sure to be completely quiet. And I can even guarantee that, because I will probably just take that moment off and grab something to drink. Because I'm not too good with Roamer Cries, so me being there probably won't be an upside for anyone.
But in order to be able to hear the Roamer Cries, we do have to get through the Sage fight first, which finding that Miltank with Zap Cannon again is kind of unfortunate for the Gyarados.
And Gyarados doing its best to get more Zap Cannon hits in.
Yeah, just trading misses back and forth. Very funny to see several turns in a row where just both trainers miss their moves.
Meanwhile, Oru is fighting Price, so I believe that's our two checks we didn't just see it from Vandio. It's not like it will be very painful for Vandio to return to Price. It's just usually when you do Rocket Hideout to the end, most of the people will do Price immediately after and not delay it.
I actually believe Vandio did do Price, if I'm not mistaken.
Then I have a pretty even worse eyes than I thought. But yeah.
It's alright. It's hard to pay attention to everything going on at once, doing these.
Enjoy the cries.
Alright, well I know for sure that is a Charmander.
And I wanna say the Raikou may be a Haunter?
I think that too. And maybe a Flareon for the Entei? There are any other better people at this in chat? I'd love to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, I'm very confident with that Haunter because there was also a race, or I think in my last race actually that I commented, that had a similar, very, very silent or very, very deep and hard to hear cry, and that also was believed to be a Haunter. So, or that actually was a Haunter, which we could confirm on the Suicune. So,
interestingly, teaching Spark to the Gyarados might serve it better than Submission did. Submission's a bit of a stronger move, but it does have the recoil. Spark having that coverage may end up paying off for Vandio.
I'm not sure. Having a fighting type move on Gyarados, fighting is physical attack. Spark is special, and Gyarados has 60 special base attack. Meanwhile, 125 base normal attack. So Spark is certainly a good move, but I'm not sure I really want it on Gyarados, even for coverage.
Yeah. We found the lost item here in the Tin Tower. That's a very quick, just turn it back into the Copycat Girl in Saffron City. And meanwhile, Oruk is, he just got the Glacier Badge from the Miracle Seed check and is going to be picking up the items in here to find that, I forget exactly what was in here, but we're about to find out. The Clear Bell, yes. Yeah, Tin Tower, you're going to be seeing a couple of save reset strats because you do have to sometimes go out of the way to collect some of these items, and it's just quicker to save reset back. But it looks like Vandio won't be save resetting this one, finding the Poke Gear, which is required to finish the game. Meanwhile, we have Orug going onto Route 44, so 2 diverging paths here. That's a squirt bottle. Alright, so yeah, with one runner going up Tin Tower and another runner going into Ice Path. Quite a few checks that both runners are going to be finding very soon. But it looks like Oruk is deciding not to go into Ice Path quite yet. Instead, going back into Violet City. Gonna, I guess, going ahead and do that do the Sudowoodo check for Rock Smash. And it looks like Vandio is going to go on ahead and check out Whirl Island as well. This is very big for him because Oruk cannot do that. The Whirlpool and Strength HMs were both in the basement. Vandio did early basement. And at this point, it is too late for Oruk to do that as they now have 7 badges.
Okay, I am back.
Alright, so, yeah. Vandio now making his way into Whirl Island.
So I guess we did find Pokegear and radio card in Tin Tower?
Not the radio card,
Okay.
just the Pokegear.
Well, that will be needed at some point. So definitely a nice find, and looks like Vandio is now going to check World Islands even out of logic, and yeah, get maybe a look at that level 60, which we are not very likely to switch to. Well, that's not the radio card, that's the expansion card.
That's actually huge, because that means that the basement is required. Therefore, the card key will be found somewhere. So, this could potentially be very big for Vandio here, as... Oh, there's the radio card.
Well, that's a Snorlax access.
That's Snorlax access, and honestly, like, this gives Vandio a lot more places to check. Doing that early basement for sure paid off for Vandio.
There is still that one caveat, though. Vandio might be tempted to just skip the rocket or the radio tower rockets entirely. And if there is something important there, Oruk will actually get that on the way. And that might be a deciding factor later in the game. For now, though, this looks very good for Vandio.
Yeah, and not only that, but also if there is something on the director himself as well, this ends up not really saving nearly as much time as it looks like. As you'll still have to go back into the basement again. And looks like we'll be checking out the Lugia. From that cry, does not look like we'll be making that switch today.
Nope, that's not.
Or, well, he is gonna catch it at least.
It is still a level 60, so it is a potential backup to maybe get in some past an annoying thunderbolting whatever on red. But yeah, Sunkern may be one of the worst Pokemon the level 60 could be.
Yeah, also pointing out in the chat, Vandio might also be memeing. I can respect it.
I mean, you can immediately evolve it, but yeah.
And that's Eradicate for the Snorlax. Not the best Snorlax you want to see there. It looks like he's also going to catch it, though.
Yeah, it is very frail, but it is okay-ish with a potential step strength that can do a bit of damage and is decently fast. But especially if there's a thunder, a Pokemon with a strong thunder move, a strong electric move. Yeah, that Sunflower would actually probably a potentially decent backup to at least get through that with 105 special attack and then 85 special defense. Yeah, Thunderbolt or Thunder wouldn't do anything to that Sunflower. It's just... slow is not even a word for it, it just doesn't move.
Yeah, not only that, but also having to go out of their way to pick up a Sunstone. Real quick, I'm going to switch over the audio. We can get another chance at those drummers.
I am very sure about that Haunter at this point.
Looks like Vandio is going to... oh, second roamer being Venonat. I can hear that, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean... for the roamers, yeah, that Charmander certainly would have been a nice option to get in Charizard. Haunter definitely a nice option to run, very frail, but very strong. Gengar is just certainly a decent main. But yeah.
Ooh, another advantage here with Vandio having Whirlpool. Is able to go down here and check this Whirlpool lock check in a pretty efficient way.
Yeah, I mean, these are all checks that Oro is not going to make very soon, at least not without finding the radio, the card key. So, yeah, remains to be seen if they are really that valuable.
Yeah, we do know for sure that Whirlpool is required. Whirlpool was in the basement. So it's just a matter of whether or not Vandio, or I guess whether or not the rest of the radio tower and Claire are required.
Yep.
And as well as whether or not Vandio decides to do those checks at some point. All right, and Vandio is going through, almost finished with the
Victory Road. And that was an Earth badge.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Vandio will be fighting the rival here. But also, oh, sorry. You go ahead.
No, I just want to say, interesting decision, getting that fly point for E4 most likely. Vandio does have a decent amount of things to do, and E4 itself is not in logic yet. From Vandio's perspective, we do not have Waterfall to access it, so card key couldn't be here yet. And usually you're not going to do an early E4 play, although with that Gyarados you could potentially do. But
yeah,
it not being in logic would definitely deter that.
Yeah,
deter me from that.
At this point there's not really a reason. There's so many other checks, but would be an interesting play if Vandio decided to do that. But something else I just thought about, with the fact that the basement is for sure required here, and Oruk needing the card key in order to more efficiently do the basement. It does look like, with Morty not giving any direct progress, that Morty is in fact a scam for this ROM.
certainly might be. I mean, to be fair, where's our actual progression? Is it Vanilla Falls Director at this point?
You know, that is a good question. It does not appear that they've gone
Well, yeah. Okay, we do have still some amount of things in Kanto actually to do.
I also do not believe that Oruk actually went through the ice path to get those 2 checks that are available there without strength.
True, that could be something. There is a rock tunnel, which is in logic. Turning in director, and of course the whole cerulean area, which we haven't seen, is in logic. So yeah, false director is still a bit off from being our logical axis.
Ooh, Thunder Punch from the Espeon, nearly knocking out the Gyarados, but it does hang on thanks to that pretty nice special defense.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes, teaching Mach Punch over Spark. That is definitely a superior fighting type move to submission. It's a little bit weaker, but it has priority and, more importantly, 100% accuracy.
That Crunch Houndoom is maybe a bit sad that Vandio never got that Houndoom running. That could have been a decent main, but yeah, would have probably still switched to the Gyarados at that point.
It looks like Vandio actually will be coming back for Erica, I think. Yeah, he should be sufficiently leveled now where this Erica fight is not nearly as difficult as it was before.
Oh, one more chance to hit to see Miltank and some Zap cannons. I mean, the interesting part here, though, is with that priority on Mach Punch, you can actually get past the paralysis, which doesn't even happen because Miltank misses.
Yeah, that Mach Punch is very good for the Gyarados here. If it were to be paralyzed, at least getting that priority helps mitigate that the speed loss.
Oh, nice crit on the Taurus. Not sure if that was 100% necessary, but certainly couldn't hurt.
Yeah, Vandio, very clean fight against Erica. I'm gonna get that Hyper Potion and Revive. Oruk is finishing up the Sages, is gonna be climbing up the tower pretty soon. And it looks like Vandio will be going into Rock Tunnel to check those out, since this is in logic.
Yeah. Okay, Mach Punch probably not the move you want to use against Jumpluff. Yeah, they're using a Max Elixir because we did already see when he was out of strength and was not really be able to use the moves he actually wanted to use.
And we have just one more item left here in the tunnel. And it's nothing but we can go check out the power plant. Although we don't have the machine part to turn in yet, it will allow access to one check in the Cerulean Gym as well as Misty if Vandio decides to clear out the Nugget Hedge Maze.
Or did pick up the lost item, which I believe wasn't anything when you checked it, or did when you check it?
He did check it. It was not a required item.
Okay, yeah. So basically, the Tin Tower actually did not give us immediate progression.
Yeah, it did not. It gave us the Pokegear, which is required, but the radio card and the expansion card both are in Whirl Island, which currently are out of logic.
Oh, there's the squirt bottle. So, or apparently never did to go really to Route 44, or...
Oh, he did. He picked it up.
So we do actually have Rock Smash access, okay. So we have one more item in Burn Tower, and actually the 3 Rock Smash locked items in Dark Cave also in logic.
And you know what? I do not believe that Vandio visited the Ho-Oh chamber yet.
Which 2 would be out of logic as when you find the Boulder Badge. Oh no, it wouldn't. Never mind. We have access to Tin Tower. But it would mean that Morty would not be a scam if there was something important in there. That would help us progress.
Also, about a minute late, but happy 2 hours.
Definitely not one of the faster ROMs, with both players somewhat missing the on one part of Fly, or an required item to get the other part. The pass in that case. Yeah, and then the progression being somewhere very well hidden, apparently. Yeah. Has made this kinda slow, although Vandio is not too far off from finishing here. Still only needs to find 5 more badges.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, unfortunately, there are a lot of checks left that can be kind of slow, especially if E4 happens to have a required item like a badge.
Yeah. Still not in logic, though. Our current access to E4 is locked behind the card key.
That is true also.
And our other access would be Waterfall at this point. Which has not been found.
Yeah, there's a good chance that the logic here will be in the Ho-Oh chamber, which Orug is about to check right now.
Well, or behind the Rock Smash items that Vandio is going.
I actually think Orug already checked those, but I missed what they were.
Okay. Did Orug also check that one Rock Smash item in Burn Tower? Then?
I don't think he's checked that yet, no.
Okay. Oh,
Oh,
there's the card key. So
there's the
now
card key.
all
So
makes
Morty
sense. And
and
the
Plain-
plain badge. Ooh.
Wow. So Morty, not a scam.
Nope. Morty is hard required access to Tin Tower.
Okay, so that was the card key and what other key item? I'm sorry.
Plain badge. So
All right.
Oruk would be able to use strength if Oruk would have strength.
Which I imagine Oruk is probably going to head into the radio rockets.
Yeah.
In just a moment here. Vandio will be checking this rock smash item.
Yeah. Which is nothing.
Just an Ultra Ball. Well, luckily we will get to see from Oruk whether or not actually clearing the rocket tower is required, or if that early basement play was the correct move.
It looks like we are going to see the secret potion check. The one in Cyanwood that you are able to access after talking to Jasmine. Yeah, so Vandio will be forced into going into that whole chamber. He needs that plain badge to progress anywhere else. And will thus be forced to pick up the card key also. But with plain badge being found there, I am not sure if Vandio will be going back to Radio Tower Rockets soon. Although there is also the way of thinking that, okay, that is required for sure, and your opponent or your opponent will most likely do it. And if they find something in there, they may have a very, very big advantage. Especially if it's not something like Waterfall, but rather a badge that you won't necessarily need.
Yeah.
That early.
The way I would be thinking about it from Vandio's perspective, if I were in his position, is that I did this skip. I'm getting the card key now, which means my opponent will be doing that. Either it's going to pay off huge for me if I don't do it and there's nothing required, or at best will end up time neutral by doing the same checks here. And so there's really nothing to lose for Vandio doing the radio tower.
One upside here that Vandio has, though, he can immediately go over and check the Waterstone chamber. If there's something in here, or actually has to take a pretty slow way to get here again.
And it looks like, yeah, there's nothing important in the Waterstone chamber. That being said, Waterstone chamber is a check that a lot of people do. So, and as well as having to do these boulders here in the Slowpoke well, it's very likely that Oruk will also be checking that very soon after he gets the Strength HM.
The thing with that is, though, usually at that point you haven't done Union Basement yet, you haven't done Flash Chamber yet, or you haven't done Ho-Oh Chamber yet, which are all checks that make it much more attractive to go into that area and finish them all of that up. This time we have done all of them already, so it is just 4 items over there that take quite a bit to get to. And yeah. Well, there's the machine part in the Slowpoke well, and these 2 checks are a bit quicker to do, and when you're there, you often just go over to the Waterstone chamber also. But yeah, with there nothing being required in there, and strength enabling to just go through Ice Path and to Blackthorn, Route 45 and such, which has more items, I can definitely see there a chance for Oruk to just never go to the Waterstone chamber and say, okay, these 4 items, maybe they're not required.
Yeah, that's also true. Oruk is on the last battle of the radio tower before being able to access 4 out of the 5 items. Specifically, these 4 items being the ones that absolutely require the card key.
Yep.
Almost seeing some swag boulders from Vandio there. Luckily, since he did check those items before, he does not have to do a save reset strat there to check that item in the strength ice room. And let's see what Oruk here has. He has now cleared out the rockets. He gets a full heal. An Ultra Ball, so far not paying out, but we have 2 more items. There's the Cascade badge for Vandio.
TM34, not strictly necessary.
And the Mystery Egg. That could be interesting. It is a key item, but we don't know if it is required yet.
Well, I believe my last 2 commentator races both had a required badge on Mystery Egg. Let's see if the streak continues.
Yeah, so unfortunately we will be in a little bit of a I'm missing the word off the top of my anticipation. There we go. We'll have to anticipate to see whether or not the radio rocket tower is actually required, or specifically the card key.
I mean, there is still more chance for it to be required in form of Claire, so yeah. That is a possibility still, but that won't be, or probably won't be checked until a bit later in the run. Although Oruk might actually just pull the trigger on it once he finds Whirlpool. But I think with Silver Wing and Whirlpool, you're more tempted to go to Whirl Islands first, find the rest of the Poke Gear, which also should have, actually, going through Tin Tower.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, I missed that. Looks like Vandio will be following Oruk into the radio rockets.
Yeah, went through Ice Path and to Blackthorn and Route 45. I'm not sure if he completely did Dark Cave. Actually,
he did.
Okay, yeah. Then there was not much in there except from the Cascade badge, so maybe wanting to make sure he didn't miss anything important.
Yeah, at this point, considering the checks we have left and the fact that the strength and the Whirlpool HMs are in the basement here, I think this really very strongly points towards Claire being required.
Yeah. I mean, what are your other options? Still the Cerulean area. We did find the machine part strength locked in Slowpoke Well, so there's also the 3 checks you can get out of that. We still have Surge, I believe, to fight. Both sides.
There are the gym battles in West Kanto as well as the Route 4 item.
Yeah, true. That's now also all in logic. So yeah, there are some options, and Vandio is looking for only 3 badges now. So yeah.
Yeah, we're also missing the HM for Waterfall.
Which at this point would basically unlock 9 items in Mount Mortar and nothing more. But yeah, that's still 9 items. But unless Vandio were to find Waterfall in here, I'd imagine he will be one to do Claire next, because otherwise at this point you would not have too much reason to do Radio Tower Rockets now. Because if you do only Radio Tower Rockets, that's 4 items if you count. Yeah, okay, 5 if you do False Director. And with the machine part and the hedge maze, for example, you have a similar amount of checks. You have the Canto leaders, which are somewhat comparable in time for items, even if they all have only 1. So, if you are only going to do Rocket Tower to make sure you want to, if you want to make sure you haven't skipped anything, it's not strictly necessary to do it now, when you still are looking for 3 more badges. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe speaking. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Oruk is now going to be able to check out the checks in the basement and grab those 2 HMs, and Vandio is almost through the radio rocket, so we'll be able to see some newer checks coming up soon. Something I didn't notice, actually, was that Vandio taught over Mach Punch for Karate Chop.
Yeah. Which I think is absolutely correct. Karate Chop is the stronger move, has that, I believe, high crit chance. And that priority on Mach Punch, it's nice to have, but it's not the greatest upside either.
Yeah, it's convenient, especially like when he had it, it was particularly convenient, considering he had the risk of being paralyzed. Oh, there's the mineral badge from the director.
Yeah, and that could have been potentially a very, very bad thing for Vandio. But
yeah,
he may be going back if he is already doing Radio Tower Rockets again. Although I still could see him saying, yeah, that's just 1 check. What are the chances?
Exactly. Ooh. It's not very often you see it, but yeah, the director having a badge, doing that early basement, can be kind of scary, since you may decide it's not worth going back for 1 check. But I think the way Vandio's been playing, trying to 100% the areas he's in, I think there's a good chance he goes back and checks it.
I think so too, but there is the off chance that he is not. I mean, the way back to the False Director, that is a very painful way. There are no fights on the way, so it's not exactly slow anymore, but it feels really bad.
Yeah, having to do that puzzle again, even though you only have to hit 3 of the switches in order to unlock the way without having to grab all the items, it's still just the fact that you have to walk, you can't bike, makes it feel a lot slower than it is.
Yeah.
And we have
I
was just going to say Oruk is making his way to Whirl Island, so he's going to be picking up a few of the required items there as well.
Yep. And is probably then going to follow up with Wake and the Snorlax and doing probably the quick West Canto checks.
And meanwhile, Vandio is finishing up the fight here with the False Director.
So, decision time for Vandio. He has got the Mystery Egg just now, so has one more incentive to maybe not immediately go back to the director. And he is flying away for now.
Uh-oh.
That could be bad. That could be very bad.
Yeah, deciding, not even doing a quick check, but deciding to go on ahead and do Chuck means that the director in the basement is not at all in his mind right now. That could cost him. Let's hope that he eventually decides to do that check before it's too late.
Yeah. It is particularly bad because the mineral badge does not do anything for you besides being a badge. So if it were, for example, a rising badge and it would lock out Mount Mortar, that would at least mean that Vandio is never going to check Mount Mortar. But if Waterfall does pop up somewhere and is not in Mount Silver, then Vandio might be tempted to go check in there for nothing. That is, if there is no badge in Mount Mortar. If there is one, then you certainly have to go to. And there got in chat mentioning it's not really worth to go back there until you have one badge left, which actually is not a bad way to think about it. You do not need to go there just yet. You still have to do other stuff too. And again, it's a check that does not require a fight anymore, so it's maybe not the slowest thing to do. And once you are just searching for that mineral badge, maybe then you will go back. But with him not having gone there just now, there is this option of him skipping it entirely to the end. Which, yeah. And I believe Oro did not take a look at the level 60 anymore.
No, I don't think he did.
Yeah, which, I mean, absolutely okay to do so. His Gyarados is, I believe, 51 at this point, so there's not much you reasonably would even think about switching to anymore. You still would want to have a backup for the Thunderbolt leading main on Red, but yeah. You can also just hope that's not there.
Alright, and it looks like as Vandio is finishing up Cyanwood, Oruk is starting the gym. There's nothing in Cyanwood currently. Vandio,
That's just
I guess, he's gonna go,
power.
yeah, he's gonna be checking the strength check here. I forgot that he hadn't checked this yet, so I was a little confused.
Not having a plane badge for the longest of time. This is also a check that feels weirdly out of the way, since when you fly to it, you still have to bike through half of Acrotique and then go into basement and then still use strength, and it feels unusually slow for such a quick check.
Yeah, Vandio is now able to check these strength checks here in Mount Mortar. Again, another check that I forgot that he hadn't checked yet, but yeah, without getting the plane badge for that long, it appears that he hasn't checked these yet. So,
and neither could have checked since Orc didn't even have strength. So yeah, there was actually not much what we could do in Mount Mortar just now, or just until recently.
Yeah, and it looks like there's nothing there. Checking out the stats on the Houndoom real quick before digging out. And flying back to New Barktown, gonna do this mystery egg check.
Yeah, I mean, you just got it. It's a quick check. You want to do it before you do stuff like candle leaders. And streak
Oof.
does not continue. But yeah, that's some nice 5
Yeah,
full
you get
restores.
5. You get 5 of any item that is given to you from the mystery egg check. 5 full restores is actually pretty significant. That will make the red fight much, much, much easier.
And now happening what maybe was already a bit yeah, I'm missing the word here, but when you did play to that doing Claire before doing like Nugget Hedge Maze or returning the machine part.
Yeah, I agree with doing Claire here again with the just the signs pointing to the fact that you got Whirlpool and Strength in the basement. To me, that just screams go to Claire next.
I agree.
Is the sound on Vandio choppy, or is that just me?
Considering that I asked that myself, probably there was some struggles on Vandio or the S3 side of things. But I don't think it was just you.
Okay, yeah, I switched over to Oruk for the time being.
Oruk going into the Slowpoke well will be finding that machine part. But is doing quite a few checks before going over to the Snorlax, actually. And does not look like he okay, does go back for the Waterstone Chamber. I think he was thinking about going there, but after initially wanting to leave it, decided against going away and just went over there.
Yeah, I think, you know, it makes sense to combine these while you're here.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Vandio is starting the Claire fight. Seeing Oruk pick up the full restore there means that when Oruk does the mystery egg check, he will also be getting those 5 full restores, that they will not go to waste.
And now maybe going for the Ice Path first before waking up the Snorlax. Which is understandable, definitely. It's probably not likely that you're getting to skip Ice Path with 5 badges still missing for Orc. And we know that the Cascade badge was here, I believe, so...
Yeah, so this is a play that makes sense, and it is going to end up being required. Meanwhile, Vandio has finished Claire. Oh, and I forgot the Boulder Badge was also here.
So yeah, maybe Cascade wasn't.
Well, no, Cascade was as well. Cascade was this way. I forgot the Boulder Badge because you could come here a little bit earlier without having strength.
I mean, I remember seeing Vandio pick it up, but I forgot that what was here, yes.
And there's the Rainbow Badge, Claire being required.
And it was very important for Vandio to go back for that after getting that radio card and clearing out radio tower rockets.
Yeah, so that puts us one badge away from knowing where all of the required items for the ROM are. The mineral badge, it is on the director in the basement. Vandio did early basement, very early on into the ROM, and he's now cleared the radio tower, but has not decided to go back for the basement check yet, or the director check. Yeah, Vandio hasn't done that yet. He at any point he can just go back and check the director for the badge, but he hasn't done that yet.
There's Cascade badge for Oruk. As clear, it does give us Rock Smash, but late. So Oruk still has to make it all the way to Victory Road to grab that Earth badge, and then needs to pick up that Reno badge that we just found here, being behind Claire, which is an annoyingly long check, and there are it's not sure that Oruk is going to make it, and Vandio is going to get the Mineral badge right now.
Yes, this is a good time for him to do this, as there's still, the secret potion, for instance, that does have 2 checks behind it. It's a good idea to go on ahead and just get this check out of the way in case, say, it were the secret potion locking one or both of the badges.
Yeah, it's one of the fastest checks you have left. Everything else after this is comparatively slow. And it just makes sense to make sure that you didn't skip anything important in here.
Yes, Snowbear pointing out, we're just looking for the Marsh badge. Again, in my opinion, Marsh badge is one of the more trolly badges. Is usually the last one I end up finding. And there's that mineral badge for Vandio.
Yeah, so only Marsh badge left to be found.
Yeah, and unfortunately not, I was going to say not a lot of quick checks left, but I don't think Vandio has actually turned in the machine part yet.
Nope. It's not the fastest check to do. You either have to go back through Rock Tunnel or take away from Cerulean and get an additional fight in. But yeah, it's still 3 comparatively quick checks.
Yeah,
on the other hand,
it's fairly quick and does have a larger density of checks than these Kanto leaders only having 1 check each.
On the other hand, this check specifically that Vandio is going to do, Blaine, is just a single fight with 3 Pokemon, and our Gyarados is very strong, so should not have too much trouble. And it does give you that fly point to Pallet Town, which you need to go to anyway at some point, so it's not the biggest waste of time. You do not have to cross Route 1 again. So
True.
This is actually still very fast in comparison to other things you could do.
Yeah, and we have while Vandio is doing Blaine, Oruk is deciding to do Brock. And so we have 2 Kanto gym fights going on. The Marsh badge could be on either of these.
Yeah, I mean, the big deciding factor here is that Oruk still has to go do Claire, and that is slow. So even if the Marsh badge turns out to be on Brock, Vandio has a bit of time to spare to get there.
And that's the red scale from Blaine.
Yeah, you'll immediately go turn that in.
All right. Looks like Brock just gave an Ultra Ball.
And that's nothing useful on the red scale.
All right. So both Brock and Blaine not required.
Going to the blue, which is again a single fight, this time with 6 Pokemon, and they are quite high level, but still Algaros is very strong. And Vandio should have still quite a chunk of his 39x tags. So, if necessary, he can just do a bit of setup. Yeah, 34 left of them.
Ooh, Thrash from the Porygon. Porygon's primarily a special attacker, but Stab Thrash, not something you necessarily want to see. That being said, the Gyarados is taking it just fine.
Yeah. Gyarados is also very decent physical defense. I believe 85 it was. Ooh, and that's a Thunderbolt. That's painful, and Azumarill is annoyingly tanky.
Ooh, speaking of annoyingly tanky, we have a Suicune on screen.
Yeah, and there was that point where when you actually did teach Spark, which you would have maybe taught for exactly these Pokemon, but even Spark wouldn't make a dent in them here.
All right, but Vandio is through the Suicune, has just a few more Pokemon left on blue, rather. Meanwhile, Oruk is able to turn in the machine part and get these quick checks from the machine part check. But it looks like Oruk is deciding not to check the Lavender Town check nor the Vermilion City check quite yet, and Vandio just getting TMO1 from blue.
Yeah, so I don't think Oruk did Rock Tunnel prior to this, right?
No, Oruk just did Rock Tunnel now.
So yeah, that was just 5 items Rock Tunnel and then turning in the machine part, so I can see him not immediately going for the single checks after it, since he still has the Victory Road left, which does have a badge in fact, so yeah, can see it. But Vandio is also taken at, going to deliver the machine part, so we will get to see those checks, and they won't apparently be an advantage for Oruk here. And I think slowly but surely the chances for Oruk to win this race are slipping away.
Yeah, if Oruk wants to have a chance, he really needs to do Claire very, very soon.
And then still have checks left to do that Vandio hasn't done by that point. Which...
Yeah, this is for sure Vandio's game to lose. Nothing with these runs is impossible. There is a chance for Oruk to catch up, but it's not looking super likely at this point.
Just a max revive on the expansion card check, which is nice to have, certainly, but it's not your last badge. And this might be lost item check into search.
Oh, into
that's the
secret potion. Ah.
Yeah, so another option you have, turning that in to get 2 more checks on fighting Jasmine.
Yeah, not only that, we are just one potentially optional item, being HMO7, away from having a completely full tracker here.
Oruk is on the way to pick up that Earth badge. That will be required. Then it's only missing that clarified and that elusive marsh badge.
I doubt we'll see this, but could be interesting if Oruk decides to make the Elite Four play here, as that would be probably one of the few things that would put Oruk at somewhat of an advantage if the Marsh Badge happens to be behind E4.
Yeah, if he then decides to also do clear, then yeah, this could be the advantage he needs, because there are still some slow things he could do aside from E4. So yeah, that would be the time that Oruk would need to get to clear, and he is apparently thinking about getting at least that fly point. Remember, Vandio also has that fly point to E4, so can basically pull that trigger on the E4 play at any point in time.
And remember, the Nugget Hedge Maze is still in logic here. Surge giving nothing. And it looks like Vandio will be making the play for at least going to be checking this item in the Cerulean Gem. But if he walks out without checking it, that's a clear sign that he is going straight for the Nugget Hedge Maze. Alright, he does decide to check that item first, which makes sense considering there's just one badge left. It looks like he's not going to the Hedge Maze quite yet, though. It looks like he will be, turning in the Secret Potion first, which completely makes sense.
2 checks for a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, at this point, there are no more fast checks. There's only slow checks and slower checks.
And Oruk is at least setting that fly point, but is taking the way back.
Teleporting away.
For the Mystery Egg turn and get the full restores.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, and Vandio is done climbing the tower, or the lighthouse, rather, and is going to be checking the Jasmine fight now, which should be very, very easy at the level this Gyarados is at.
And Oruk is going to Claire. So, oh, no?
Maybe not yet.
Okay.
Deciding to do Dark Cave first. Maybe might be doing Claire afterwards, which would be the best thing for Oruk right now. Especially since the Rainbow Badge is the first check in there, too.
I'm not sure what he's going to do. We'll see, though.
Alright, and that's Jasmine done. Jasmine giving a TM and another TM. Alright, Jasmine is a bust. That's slowly narrowing down the options for Vandio here.
Those are some very not good TMs for a physical main.
What, you wouldn't put Tackle on your Gyarados?
Considering its strength, no.
Alright, and Vandio is checking Brock here while looks like Oruk just finished up Route 45, is deciding what to do next.
And that might be the Nugget. Okay, that also not check the hit. Interesting.
Yeah, Oruk is checking the item in the Cerulean Gem. I mean, this is another thing that could lead him to the marsh badge if he decides to do the nugget hedge maze. But it looks like he's not doing that quite yet. It looks like he's now remembering, oh, I should probably potentially check these machine part checks here.
Yeah. Decides to do a little bit of shopping. Yeah, you do not want to sell your max revives. They are useful. It's apparently missing some repels, buying... Okay, 20... I don't think we will need 22 max repels anymore. I think Elf would have sufficed. But yeah. 11. Me slipping some German words in here. Sorry for that.
Alright, Vandio getting that Ultra Ball from Brock. I imagine might be checking Route 4 next.
Probably. When you skip Brock earlier and then return to do Brock, you're most of the time doing Route 4 after it.
Yeah, Vandio, if you notice there, Vandio like almost hit that optional, but decided to stop like right before it. So nice save there from Vandio. Yeah, thank you to those in chat that are helping me with the tracking. I do miss stuff sometimes.
And now Orok is catching up on doing Canto Leaders, doing Sabrina. Unfortunately, this does not help Orok getting closer to the win. You know, there's nothing on Sabrina. And still needs to fight Claire. So this is better and better for Randio, eliminating more and more checks that could potentially hurt him.
Alright, and Vandio making pretty clean sweep through the rival here, hitting level 60.
Yeah, this Gyarados should not have too much trouble on Red at this point. I think there need to be an Stab Thunderbolt or Stab Thunder being on a Red's lead that's for your Gyarados to run into much troubles.
Yeah, and even if Vandio does have trouble with Red's lead, Oruk is going to have the exact same troubles, so there's a good chance that it may or may not cause issues as far as like swinging the race in any particular direction. And Oruk now finding his secret potion.
Yeah, let's see if Oruk is also going to do a search, and yes. Meanwhile, Route 4, not anything, and Vandio is apparently following Route 4 up with the Nugget Hedge Maze.
Yeah, this is I believe, probably the best move for him right now. There are 3 checks, 2 of which are going to be at the end of the maze, and then 1 for fighting Misty.
Yeah, and at this point, what else does Vandio have left?
E4?
Yeah, and besides that?
I don't think he has anything else other than E4 left, if I'm not mistaken.
I do think so too. Believe we have seen everything else by this point.
Yeah.
He has gone back for Erika, he has gone back for the director.
Yeah, so looks like we will be seeing, potentially seeing a 100% seed.
I mean, we are still missing Waterfall, so we had no chance to go to the back of Mount Mortar yet, but...
yeah, there's still a chance that we do find the Waterfall and then the last item in Mount Mortar being the badge, so we could still see a 100% or at least a very, very, very close to 100% seed.
Yep. Not yet. I mean, Vandio is running straight up to in last location soon. Which, yeah. is nothing what you want to have if you're approaching Go mode.
All right, Oruk is through Surge, and looks like he's deciding to use this PP ups. This is pretty good considering it lets you use your moves more without needing to elixir.
Yeah, the strange part about this is seeing PP ups being used on fly, which is certainly not something you see very often.
And it looks like Oruk will be actually following Vandio into the Nugget Hedge Maze.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, this being Vandio's last checks before E4, there is no way for Oruk to make up time in this. So it's not good and it's not bad. He has to do this probably if he didn't go to E4 straight. So yeah, if he didn't pull the trigger on the E4 play now, then it is Vandio's race to lose for sure.
Yeah, it's just a matter of Vandio having a very, very, very rough time on red. I think would be the only thing to potentially slide this into Oruk's favor at this point.
Which is something that hasn't happened. Which isn't something that hasn't happened in this tournament before. So yeah, there's always a chance. But I mean,
yeah, there
has to be some metronome shenanigans at this point, because otherwise Oruk is going to run into the same troubles.
Yeah, no, we've definitely seen metronome shenanigans on the lead, on Red's lead, almost cause a major upset in the tournament. So it's not unheard of. But at this point, the Nugget Hedge Maze did not give the badge or waterfall, so we are going to have to look at Misty. And this is the last check before Vandio has to take on E4.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have done some runs of this, and you see your timer fast approaching 3-hour mark, and you're not in go mode, you know this is a bad seed. Yeah.
Alright, Vandio making quick work of Misty here, and getting a TM, which means that this is an E4 seed.
Unless we forgot something which could potentially have happened, but I don't think so. Yeah, this is absolutely an E4 seed. Oh,
and
the Pokedex.
Yeah, I was gonna say not only that, but the Pokedex was in the Nugget Hedge Maze, making this all the more sad because of bad menuing.
Yeah, immediately forcing a menu mistake out of it.
Luckily, at this level, the E4 should not pose any real problems for Vandio. It's just a matter of sitting through all these fights.
Yeah, this is that is the one upside of the search for the last batch being so long. Your main has a very, very big amount of time to level up and get stronger. And yeah, at the end, I believe Vandio will be around somewhere around level 30, 65, 66 maybe, pre-candy. So yeah, this Gyarados is very much prepared for what Red can bring out. I think
It is to answer a question in chat, it's 26 Pokemon for 2 items. But that being said, I believe if I'm not mistaken, that this is Vandio's only check left.
Yeah. It absolutely is. Oh, yeah. Unless we are missing some check or one check specifically somewhere. This absolutely should be Vandio's absolute last check to do.
All right, looks like Oruk is deciding to go on ahead and do Claire, which will have one of the 2 badges that is required for Oruk to finish.
So Oruk didn't fight Misty here, right?
I guess Oruk forgot that you have to fight Claire in order to get access to the Dragon's Den. I think Oruk did fight Misty, but okay. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I apparently did miss some things by watching here. And yeah, doing Claire will get Oruk that rainbow badge. And I have to think a bit, but Oruk also should not have too much else left to do. I don't think Oruk was fighting Blaine and Blue yet.
Apparently Oruk did skip Misty, and Oruk also hasn't fought Blaine or Blue, or done the Route 4 item.
Yeah.
I think he did fight Brock.
Yeah, he did absolutely fight Brock. He did it pretty early compared to Vandio. That was still a check where that marsh badge would have been where Vandio wasn't at that point.
Yeah, I remember that now. So Oruk, even after finishing Claire, is still going to have a number of checks left. It's going to be a decision of whether or not Oruk decides to make the E4 play.
Yeah, and even by that point, Vandio will be done with E4 already. So, and yeah, okay, you can save that, but that wasn't the correct push. Yeah, Vandio making short work of the Elite Four.
Yeah, at this point, not really too much to comment on other than the fact that Vandio is just this fight and one more fight away from being done with E4. And Oruk still has a couple of fights left here before he will have access to the Rainbow Badge.
Yeah. 2 fights in this gym and then 1 more Pokemon on the way into the Dragon's Den.
Oh, it looks like that Feraligatr ended up paralyzing the Gyarados, but Vandio had an item for it, luckily.
Yeah, the Feraligatr has Thunder Wave, so it will use that when it can. And paralysis is kinda annoying.
Yeah, as Prism Zeta pointing out, Gator trying to paraflinch because it used Headbutt after that.
Yeah, seems like there's at least one trainer in Elite Four that knows what they're doing. Just sadly having that level disadvantage did make their attempts at doing in resistance very futile.
And we see Vandio going straight into Lance without saving. And at this point, there's not really anything that could pose a significant threat to the Gyarados, so there's no really need for a save before Lance.
Nah. You out-level everything. Even if there's a Thunderbolt Mewtwo or a Thunderbolt Zapdos, you probably still have 1 or 2 max revives and should have a decent chance of taking that down.
Yeah. setting up just one X attack, just to make sure there's no funky business with ranges. Vandio is sweeping Lance, while Oruk finished up Claire and will now be making their way into the Dragon's Den.
So one more Pokemon left to fight for Oruk, and then we'll find badge number 15 in the Rainbow badge. But yeah. Meanwhile, Vandio is, I believe, on the last Pokemon of Dance. Be finishing up the E4 and the champ. So yeah, unlocking 2 more item checks, one of which has to be either the badge or waterfall.
Alright, Vandio has now saved and reset from the Hall of Fame, so we will be able to very quickly see this one check here, and then if it's not here, we'll have to make a slight detour to the 10 tower to pick up the other E4 check. That is the Waterfall HM.
So, that is the interesting question. Do you check Rainbow Checkwing first? Or do you go all the way through Mount Mortar?
That's a good question. The density of checks in Mount Mortar is much, much higher than this one check, but I do believe it is worth it to just go on ahead and get this one check out of the way.
Yeah. From personal experience, I can say I had an E4 seat recently where there was a similar set of items. I believe the card key being on there actually. So I followed the card key immediately, did the radio tower, did the basement, did Claire, found nothing, and found out that the second batch actually was on that rainbowing check. Or the last batch remaining, so yeah. There can be some considerable upside to just check that what quick item first.
Yeah, but it looks like Vandio will be entering Mount Mortar here to collect this last badge within the next minute or two, and then it'll be go mode.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Oruk trying to decide what to do next, and it seems that he is deciding to make his way over to Blaine.
Yep. Okay.
And that is the Marsh badge, a 99.9% seed here, skipping just the last few items here in the back of Mount Mortar. That will be go mode for Vandio.
I think we can number that. I believe actually just 7 items that weren't checked outside of Mount Silver.
Meanwhile, Oruk doing this Blaine fight will give him the red scale.
Yeah. Another fetch quest that can bait him away from doing B4. So by this point we can probably say with confidence that Vandio will be done with red before Oruk can manage to finish E4. And struggling a bit of Blaine here because that Citra has Thunder and Lancet.
Yeah, while it is most likely the case, you know, it's one of those, like, I never want to say never, you know what I mean?
I mean, you have a level 70 Gyarados to go into. Huh? surely there cannot be a red lead that can prevent Vandio from finishing this fast.
Yeah, pointing out in chat the auto hit with thunder while flying. That's not the first time that's happened to Oruk in this run. It's actually happened several times.
Yep. Oh, that is a Kingdra lead, so that's certainly not the nicest thing to fight, but it's not having stab, but it has ancient power.
Ooh, ancient power being super effective, and also importantly, yep, there is the Omni boost for the Kingdra. This may pose a little bit of trouble for Vandio.
Yeah, negating one of the X defense already, but it is out of ancient power PP. Let's see if it has another move that can be dangerous. Sludge is not it.
Yeah, Sludge is not very dangerous. It can poison, but that doesn't really matter in the long run. And Rock Smash. Oh, that will lower Gyarados' defense potentially. But I believe he might have used a guard spec, so he's probably okay.
I think he used.
Oh, missed! Oh no. Well, the mist does get rid of the Omni boost from the Kingdra, but the mist also makes it where that setup. Are you
the confusing things? Isn't haste the one you don't want to see? Mist is, I believe, just that it prevents the Kingdra from getting stats low.
Oh, my bad. For a second, I thought he did use. I just got a little confused in my brain. Nah, it's good.
So mist is where you say fine, whatever, don't care.
Yeah, no.
Haste is where you are sad.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I just got it confused in my head for a second. Alright, that's a Mewtwo, but at this point, Vandio's set up enough where it should not matter.
Yeah. So if this were the lead, it could have potentially been bad, but yeah. This way, Vandio is just done with red.
Alright, and Vandio, get your GGs out for Vandio. He just finished with a time of 3 hours, 6 minutes, 14 seconds. GG. You usually don't like to see runs over 3 hours. I'm sure Vandio is relieved to have won, but glad the run is over.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Alright, and we should have Vandio coming in for an interview here. GG's Vandio. That Gyarados not looking great.
Yeah, not, excuse my voice, by the way, I kind of have a cold right now. Yeah, my Gyarados not the best. Not great.
Well, there are some things where you can say was not the best about this race here. The seed for starters.
Yeah.
Real quick, thank you to SpeedGaming for rating with a party of 130. We are just finishing up the match here. Vandio has just finished. We have him here for an interview.
Oh, nice. He's running the, Oric is running the Gyarados as well. Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, he taught it fly? Oh, jeez.
The fly, it did help him out a little bit, but he also got hit by several 100% thunders because of using fly.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, at this point, he just needs to do E4 to get that waterfall HM in order to finish.
Yeah, this is. I've seen so many terrible seeds in this tournament so far. So many E4 required seeds.
Yeah, so just considered them of them. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing here, as far as your victory, was that early basement. Now, in the end, it was required to go up the radio tower for multiple reasons, but doing the basement early allowed you to not only check a few checks out of logic, but more importantly, it gave you that strength HM, which, while not needing to use it for checks, it gave your Gyarados a very decent attacking move that, honestly, Oruk kind of struggled with not having strength.
Yeah, it was definitely. I'm definitely glad I checked that. I got strength, and it was just. Yeah, just cruising, honestly, with mostly just strength and surf almost the entire ROM.
And one other big part of this run giving you an advantage was you did immediately go back after getting surf and did check the Cherry Grove item on the island, and it did get that pass.
Okay, or continued into Goldenrod then?
It was kind of an interesting situation. Or continued in the Goldenrod and missed the pass, and therefore couldn't get the Fly HM, but you happened to skip out on the Storm Badge early because you wiped, and so that was actually a pretty big equalizer there. You ended up getting the Storm Badge, and he got the Fly HM within seconds of each other.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I knew it, dude. I knew it as soon as I wiped in the underground or in the basement of Union Cave. I was like, that's gonna be an important item. I know it. Of course, but it didn't hurt me too bad in the end.
Yeah, I mean, what was to show there for while you did get the ability to fly at basically the exact same time, you had done the basement by that point in addition to everything Oruk has done so far.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that also helped out pretty much. I mean, Oruk did switch around a bit with mains in Violet, I believe. So caught an Ivysaur he was running for a bit, and one other thing that just eludes me right now, what it was.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Was his Gyarados also in Vermilion?
Yeah.
Or was it somewhere else?
No, that was also then the once Oruk got that pass and went over there to get Fly. Then also went to Vermilion, found that Gyarados found at first a female level 38 one, and decided to look a bit more, and then found a level 39 male one immediately after. So
that's 39, yeah, it's pretty good. Oh. Nice.
I have to ask, with this being a 100% seed for you and doing E4 last, I imagine there was a lot of pressure considering that, unfortunately, you did lose your first match, and so if Oruk would have checked E4 a bit earlier, there is a chance that he might have been ahead of you. Yeah,
I was pretty resigned to that at that point. I was just like, you know what, if he checked E4 early, good for him. Good choice, because, you know, a lot of times when you feel behind, those are the kind of plays you gotta make, so I wouldn't have felt too bad about it. I feel like I played the logic very well this run, in terms of like the orders that I did checks. So
yeah, it certainly did a very, very nice route through the seed, and yeah, especially with getting that whirlpool and strength out of logic, still remembering about the card key being necessary for that and playing around with that.
Oh no, another 100% Thunder.
Oh.
From Gengar. Didn't die though.
That's rough.
Yeah, so,
checking basement early did help me out a lot this run. Also, did Oruk skip Morty initially?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, even though it wasn't like required technically, it was. I felt like it was really helpful, the fact that I got to I just like full cleared Critique. I full cleared everything the first run through, and then shortly after I got Rainbow Wing and Clear Bell, so I could just go straight there and didn't have to worry about doing all the other stuff first. I got a good amount of experience when it was most useful.
Yeah, you know what's interesting though is that it wasn't required for you, but that's also because you kind of did things out of logic. The card key was in the Ho-Oh chamber, and so if you're following the logic, I believe technically Morty was supposed to be required.
Oh yeah, I
And
guess that's
what it
true. Yeah.
was.
Yep. Oh, I didn't remember where I found the card key. So you're right. Actually, Morty was technically required.
It was absolutely required, well, because you had to go into the tower for the Poke Gear, and you had
Yep.
to get into the tower to get the card key. So you could not do radio tower rockets to get into the tower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
Haha, Snow Bear. Correct.
So,
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth about like whether Morty was required, because at first we were like, it's not required because he only gives those items, and then it's like, well, he is required because you need to climb the tower, and then it's like, but he's, not required because of this reason, and then it ends up he is required. So
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting.
it was a long time up in the air for where the card key actually was, because we knew it had to be somewhere, especially with the other two Poke Gear parts being locked behind Whirlpool. And question was just where was it? At that point where you both went into a Tin Tower, I believe you didn't have done Rock Tunnel, which was in logic at that point, so there could have been the card key potentially for Orc to enable skipping Morty, but I think Orc did Morty already by that point, so didn't matter anymore.
How about that Erica, huh? Miltank with Zap Cannon.
Yeah, I did note when you started the fight the first time, I noticed I believe you only had one super potion left, and that was all the healing items you had.
Yep.
So I was fairly certain that unfortunately you were gonna have to turn around and come back at some point.
Yeah.
I also have made a little difference there, because when Orc went in there, Orc actually managed to finish the fight first time, but didn't matter in the end.
Oh my gosh!
And another thunder.
Holy cow!
Yeah, it just keeps happening. It's very unfortunate to see. I've never seen it happen so many times in one run. Well, then again, we don't really see Fly on the main very often, but I mean, if you're gonna have Fly on your main, Gyarados is one of the Pokemon to do it with.
Yeah, I definitely considered it at the beginning, but when I got Strength I didn't have Strength when I caught the Gyarados, did I?
No.
Yeah, because I had to have done the basement with Gyarados. There's no other way I did it. Yeah. So after that, I just decided it was good enough. But I definitely considered it. I just hate how slow Fly is. I mean, and then the 100% Thunder on top of that just makes it terrible for Gyarados. But still strong.
Especially
good choice with not money choices.
Yeah. Something else I want to bring up was catching the level 60 Sunkern. Was that just a meme, or were you actually considering possibly having that as a backup?
Yeah, without a Sunstone, I should have just ran from it. It didn't matter, but I like Sunkern.
I see. Yeah, he is a little bit of a cutie.
He's a little cutie guy. Also, if I found a Sunstone by some miracle, Meep carrying me through, or being a meat shield for red, not a bad idea.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
if you have a problem with thunder moves on Gyarados, getting a Sunflower in the way is one of the best ways to prevent that.
Yeah, because it's got pretty high special defense, right?
Well, it's just 85, so it's not too bad. But against Thunder Move especially, that won't be doing much to a Sunflower.
Yeah. Thank goodness Ancient Power only has 5 PP though.
Yeah. That Kingler using the Ancient Power and getting the Omni Boost too started to look just a little bit scary.
Yeah, that was a bit scary, but I knew as long as it didn't crit me, I was probably fine. Thankful I had the X defense as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just imagining a scenario when the Kingdra uses Ancient Power 5 times and gets the Omni Boost every time, and you just have to reset at that point.
Just reset, yeah. If it got it a second time, I might have just reset.
Yeah.
But it only had two left at that point, I think, or maybe one. Yeah.
I also got very scared. It used mist, but I thought it used haze.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thankfully,
Uh,
the other one, the less scary one.
All right, and Orc is through the E4 now. We'll be able to check for the waterfall HM. We'll see if he decides to go straight into mortar or if he decides to do the rainbow wing check first.
Yeah, when my main reasoning actually for doing Morty and kimonos immediately when I was going through Art Critique was because no matter what, I was just going to be continuing east after that to do Rocket Hideout. I was almost certainly going to be committing to that. So I just decided it's probably best to check if either Plane Badge or Waterfall were in Equity, because then I could just full clear Mount Mortar on the way. Obviously, kind of ironic now looking back that Waterfall was E4 locked, but
Yeah, so you were technically correct with Waterfall being an acrotic. You just had no way to get to it.
Yeah, and at that point, having your main be as strong as it is, going on ahead and doing those checks is definitely not the worst idea in the world, considering, especially with Morty and Kimono Girls being two checks that some runners put off for a long time.
Yeah.
In the end, it was a 100% seed. You were probably going to get around to it anyway before E4, but still, while your main can one-shot it, like, what's the point of waiting on it, especially when you do have you're still have a lot of items left to check.
Yeah. Also, at that point, I was like, definitely going to need a lot more experience to beat Erica. So I didn't know how soon I was going to have to go back to it,
That's also a very good point.
That is true.
Oruk is just about to pick up the Marsh Badge here. It's this second item. Not right there, but yep, right over here.
Yeah, I mean, with these multiplays at that point, you could definitely make a case for maybe trying to delay at least the Burn Tower until you have Rock Smash and or the Plane Badge to be able to check those two items immediately, or one at least. And you had the access to the Rocket Tower at that point, basically, so you had a way to check 13 items over the 3 that were available, or 4 that were available in Equity, which you always take on the map call, or with that item point check, whatever that is. But yeah, absolutely understandable just doing Morty. Yeah, it was necessary after all, so no time lost at all.
All right, and with the result of this match, this means that there is a chance we see a three-way tie here for your group. So that could be interesting.
At least you have forced to be in a three-way tie or make it through, so that win definitely very nice for your chances to stay in the tournament.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm feeling much more confident now. I was pretty nervous for the first match. I didn't play very well. Also, I mean, Diego played well. He did that seed in a pretty good time, but I got pretty unlucky with mains, and I wasn't playing well. But this run definitely showcased how my skill a lot better. I didn't hit any optionals, unless you count the one after resetting from Erica and then walking straight down.
I did see that. I didn't get a chance to comment on it, but it was pretty funny considering you were just able to reset it away. It gave me a little chuckle.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like that happens to me every time I have to reset from like failing Erica. But
Yeah, I mean, you are usually used to just walk down that path because it's the fastest way out after you finished Erica. But
yep.
when you did not finish Erica, the trainers are still active, and you are going up on the left one because you start there in the arena. So yeah, it's something you actually have to remind yourself of to not let muscle memory walk you into that.
Yep.
Yeah, and Oruk is now in silver. Gonna be doing just a little bit of item management here. Right before red. Let's see. He's gonna be a little bit underleveled compared to you, I believe. And well, I don't know. How many rare candies did he pick up?
Same
he's
amount as me.
enough.
Okay, yeah, he'll be 70. Okay. Let's see how his luck with the ancient power goes, because might end up being a little bit worse and could take Oruk some time.
Yeah. No boosts, no crits, please. Although I did have 0 defense, DV. So
That is also true. That Gyarados is
at
so
level
cursed.
70, that definitely makes a big difference.
At least, the 10 attack isn't bad.
One
Yeah,
addition
yeah.
is here, or one additional difference is here. Orc has leftovers on the Gyarados. So
Yeah, so he'll
does feel a
survive
bit.
or a 4th one. Yep, looks like it. And looking fine. Hopefully no on this 5th one, no boost. Okay, yep, he's probably fine.
Something else that was brought up is the mystery egg giving out
Oops.
5 full restores.
Oh yeah, that was sick. I was like, wow, that's just as good as 5 rare candies.
Oh no, getting the defense drop from the rock smash. Hopefully won't be too much of a problem, but
yeah, I mean, there's that sludge that profits from it, and the poison is annoying, but it's still not a very strong move. And Orc did now set up next defend against the defense drop.
And I saw the mist heart dropped for just a second before remembering it is not
not haze.
Not haze. No, I know if I were running this and I saw the mist, I would have immediately thought it was haze and played according to that, and that probably would have caused me some issues.
But it does seem like Orc is pretty much fully set up, but decides to get some X defense in. And okay, maybe did not speed yet, but there's also not much X speed in need.
I think he's a +4 speed now.
Okay,
yeah, he should be good to go.
At level 70, I was like, I probably didn't even need +5 X attacks.
Now, did he use an X accuracy?
Yeah, it was the first thing he used.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'd be a little bit scared hitting these rock slides if I didn't use an X accuracy first.
And the fly if he has to use it.
Yeah, and submission too. So that X accuracy actually was probably well planned for. Oh,
no thunder on Polytoad. Good.
At this point, using fly is a little bit sketchy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Mewtwo. Very.
I think it dies.
No, it dies for sure. It's just like seeing a Mewtwo there.
You probably do not want to risk using fly and then getting hit by the thunder from Mewtwo.
Mewtwo thunder, yeah.
That'd be unfortunate.
Mewtwo is the only one I wasn't sure if it was gonna die at +5.
All right. That is GG's for Oruk. Finishing with a time of 3:27:20.
GG.
Alright.
Yeah, we should be getting Oruk here for an interview potentially.
Wow, significantly better Gyarados than mine.
That 15 attack, very, very good. 14 speed, wow, that Gyarados was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see my Hitmontop as well? 0 attack Hitmontop?
Oh
Zero,
no!
zero attack, 3 speed, 0 special, Hitmontop.
And the 3 special Houndoom, you just couldn't catch a break.
Yeah, I decided I was really considering whether or not I wanted to use the Houndoom, but just didn't have much.
Yeah,
Whereas
it had
Hitmontop had Mega Kick, Arrow Blast, and we got a couple early elixirs. I figured that'd be good enough.
Yeah, it had Blizzard, which is certainly okayish move to have alongside a good attack, but not the main move you had. And I believe one more okayish move to try. So with Surf, it would have been actually maybe okay to get somewhere, but the Hitmontop was also okay. A bit curious about why you didn't catch the straight upgrade from Frishing, maybe? Because you had the option to switch to level 10 Hitmontop immediately after getting that old rod, which Oracle actually did. Or did you
Or
just see
found
the
it.
Abra?
I saw the Abra and I just left. Whenever I've realized, like with early headbutt and old rod, it's not worth staying for so few levels, and it's like less likely to be a good main because good early wilds doesn't apply. So if I don't see something good on the first fishing, I just keep going.
Okay,
Also,
so
the
you
Hitmontop was good enough.
okay, so you actually didn't see the Hitmontop. That makes
No.
not now much more sense why you didn't catch it. Okay, but yeah, then maybe a question about why didn't you catch the Abra? There
Yeah, I
is the
wanted to ask
chance
about that as well.
you trade that in for, at Goldenrod, so that's a potential main with boosted XP to run. You had the Fog badge, I believe, at that point. So you had
Interesting. Yeah,
obedience up to level 50.
that is one thing that relatively new to FIRs, like only in the past couple months. Like I did a few like a year ago or so, but definitely didn't learn them through and through. And even now, I don't know the in-game traits, so that's something I should still learn. The only ones I know are Krabby and Bellsprout. I don't know the rest of them.
Yeah, the Abra trout is pretty important. Trait is pretty important because that's up on the level of the TMs in the Goldenrod Mart next to the where you get the TM 21 or 27 on Sundays. So the NPC to the left of that spot immediately has the Abra trait. So
okay, yeah, it's a pretty convenient spot then.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's one thing to go, and it was already level 10. So even if Abra is absolutely frail, it had Spark and has a pretty decent special attack and high speed. So if you get that to a Kadabra, which were only 6 level at the point, it would also an okayish main chest run maybe. So there was a bit of question why you didn't even try to catch the Abra.
Yeah, that could have been a consideration for sure. But I prefer if I'm not gonna, I would prefer it the way it happened, where I just make a decision and leave and keep going, because that way I waste the least amount of time. But it would have been a consideration if I knew about the trade, especially. Otherwise, I don't think I would have run it as an Abra. It's got decent stats, but yeah, it just dies to anything if it doesn't one shot.
So it was just a point of question why you didn't even try to catch the Abra, because there's three ways you can actually use that catch, and either running it, trading it, or you're just using it for HMs that it doesn't have it. But if you didn't know about the trade, then it certainly doesn't make much more sense if you just left it behind.
All right, I want to give a good GG's to Oruk.
GG Orc.
GG. That was a good race.
Yeah. Good race, bad seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so overall, honestly, both of you ran very well, and both of you ran the Gyarados too. Honestly, I think it's easy to say that Orc did very clean run. Just unfortunately, just a tad bit slower than Vandio, but still
good job for both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I definitely could have done better. For one thing, I totally butchered spelling Vandio's name when I was naming Rival, so that was a good 15 seconds right off the bat.
Nice.
But yeah, I definitely made some mistakes that I'm going to look back on. There's a couple of things I wish I'd done better, but I think I did a pretty clean race overall.
Well, I will say, we've already talked about it a little bit with Vandio, but with you, you went straight to Goldenrod instead of turning back around and picking up the pass. But that being said, it didn't end up being that much of a difference in the race because Vandio actually ended up wiping right before the Storm Badge and ended up skipping it for a while. So you guys actually got Fly at almost the exact same time.
Just
Wow.
in different places.
Yeah, I just didn't consider turning around and going back all that way, considering I might be able to, who knows, maybe I get Fly in the meantime and I can fly back there.
Yeah,
I
it's
think at that point I already had the Storm Badge, right?
yeah,
Not,
no, you
not when you
didn't.
get Surf. You get the full ability to surf in Violet even. So also very early. And when you did turn around even before going or hitting Route 32.
Yeah, I was planning on saves coming in case, and I was planning on going all the way back east of Newbark as well. So I grabbed the pass in Cherry Grove, and then I saved again. Checked the 2 items east of Newbark. Also, there's pretty decently leveled Pokemon in the falls and outside, like mid-20s. I think in the falls it gets up to something like 28. I don't know the actual levels, but decently leveled. So I checked those and then reset back to Cherry Grove. So
Well, something interesting is that when Oruk did end up going back for the pass, he had the Rising Badge at the time. And so had the other part of Fly been on the Rising Badge instead, that actually would have been very big for Oruk at the time.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, we talked already about that with Vanyo, but maybe one of the biggest factors in deciding this race was Vanyo's decision to do an early basement play after getting that Gyarados very early, and thus got strength as a move out of basement, out of logic, but way earlier than you, and could use that on Gyarados, which made the moveset just much more usable and accessible.
You know, I completely forgot that you could teach strength to Gyarados. I should. That might have been something I could have done.
Yeah, strength is just a great early carry move, honestly. 80 power is just too good not to use.
Yeah.
And 15 PP on it.
Yeah. And I managed to get a PP up on it as well. Pretty decent.
Yeah.
You did decide to run Fly on that Gyarados, though, which is a good attack, definitely. Its unfortunate downside is you can still get hit by Thunderous with 100% accuracy, which happened a few times.
That is the downside to using Fly.
And it was quite interesting, the number of times that happened throughout the run.
Yes, I felt like every time I ran into a grass type, it used Thunder on me when I flied. It felt like every time. I'm certain it was like hardly 1 in 4, but it felt like every time. When you're running a Gyarados, any time that you get Thunder used on you, it feels bad.
Very bad. I didn't have Fly on mine, but I still got hit by the Vileplume with Thunder.
Oh yeah,
that hurt.
Vileplume.
And Vandio also struggled against Erica's Miltank with Zap Cannon.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure the way that I beat that was by simply dodging.
Ah, yes.
I think that's
Yeah, maybe
right.
you should try that next time, Vandio. Just dodge.
I
it.
Yeah,
will.
It's
I think
a
I will
decent
try
strat
that.
if you can remember it.
Dude, did you guys were you guys watching when I was on Janine too? I lost 6 coin flips in a row, dude. 6 coin flips in a row. The Spider-Man meme. the
Oh,
Gyarados
yeah.
Actually,
had
did
dynamic punch.
I did
Yeah.
see. I didn't see just how bad it went, but I did
I-
notice you struggled with Janine more than you probably should have.
Yeah,
I
it was
just
terrible.
on Janine when I got hit by the first dynamic punch, I just immediately was like, nope, I am not dealing with this. Full heal right away.
Yeah, I got hit with 4 of them in a row. After the first 2, I was at +2 attack. So I just tried to hit through confusion, and I hit myself twice. And in the meantime, it hit 2 more dynamic punches. So it's like, yeah. And then the third, I think it took 2 resets to be able to beat Janine, which hurt.
Yeah,
But-
that's not great.
Okay, I'm very tired of talking. I think I'm
Yeah.
going to head out
Sounds
and
good.
rest my voice.
GG's to you, Vandio.
Yeah, GG's.
Yes, GG.
I don't know if we have any other questions, so we might be just about to wrap it up here. If anyone wants to give any last words before I talk about the schedule a little bit.
Good luck on the last race, Orc.
Thank you. I'll need it.
All right,
Would
and
certainly be an interesting one against Diego. Yeah, so we will see what happens there. And it might not be the last race of all of you in this group stage so far.
Yeah, if I win,
Yeah.
we go to the 3-way.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah. So up on the schedule for today, we have Audley versus SD Kildafan in about 6.5 hours from now. And then an hour after that, 7.5 hours from now, we have Easton versus Versity. Neither of these runs currently have what channel they're going to be on, but we will be looking out for that today. Tomorrow, you can look forward to Trickums versus Prism Zeta, SSS versus Diego Lazo R4, Dirtswall versus Glacial, and Vice versus Knutson. So we will look forward to those races in the future. But other than that, I have been Dimnix.
I was Randomizer here.
All right. And thank you guys for watching, and we will see you later.
See ya.